Steven running. Hello. Trendy Nick. Good morning.
Hey, Steve and Nick, what's up, guys? Yes, we will be starting the show as soon as I get my coffee. Thanks for chatting and getting the show started, gentlemen. Excellent. Excellent. Be right back. Yeah, all right. Okay. Just Nick and Steve, huh? Nobody on Rumble. Okay. Crazy. I appreciate you, Nick and Steve. I want you to know that. There's, according to this, there's close to 15 people watching.
Holly
And,
Horn.
oh, Holly, there she is.
Hi,
Okay.
Nick.
That's better. Okay, here we go.
Holly Horn.
Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Holly Horn. Hope you are well.
Glide and take cash in your chips, you sniffling, whining, self-loathing hypocrite. Blame it on Rio or the woman in red. Don't fool yourself, it's all in your head. You're a mascot of the next century. Look in the mirrors, count insecurity. I bleed for you, my eyes burn. My point is no, 'cause you'll never learn. You'll never learn.
The earthquake of J. The J-quake. My special effects. Kafevi! Who is that guy? Levi's Clothing Company. Fuck you, Levi's Clothing Company.
It starts with an F.
Hey Nick, who now? Hello! Trendy's trending, everybody in live from Northern California. Orlando, Florida, home of Trendy. Has tabs and all things trendy, where you find me and get hashtag Trendy's on all forms, sources and sorts of social media, especially right here on Rumble, Nate's Garden. This is the Ox Project from Orlando, Florida. What's up, everybody? So we've got an excellent video from Tim Black this morning, and we already covered just a slight little part of something that Jimmy Dore had said to Cornell West, and that was it. We just touched on it, and Tim Black does like this whole deep dive, because there's a lot of people talking about this now, and I didn't watch the interview because I wasn't interested. Well, now I am, because Tim Black's got a lot to say about it. So if you're interested in it too, you've come to the right place. I've got the video right here. I'm already 49 minutes in. We'll back it up to... We're going to back it up to 30 minutes. This is where Tim starts the video and starts. Now, he does 30 minutes of explaining at the beginning, okay? And it's excellent, and you should all go back and watch that. We're not going to cover that here. I want to just get the more real-time responses that he's got. But what he says before is excellent. He talks about history, his own, Jimmy Dore's, Cornell West's. He talks about his feelings around those people and their relationships with Biden and Bernie Sanders and all kinds of shit. And progressives and Republicans and Democrats. And he talks about all that. 30 minutes. And it's good. And it's worth listening to. So if you guys are intrigued by what you're about to see, and a little bit of context, you're about to see a man get very angry, and you know, he's going to be expressing himself in an angry way. But understand, Tim Black is the guy that called me in California. He gave me his number to call him years ago in California, and said, you need to start being nicer to your audience. He said, I've watched you, he said, and if you want to do better, he's like, I know you're just going to have to start being nice to your audience members, because it's just not sustainable, you know? It made a difference, and he helped me a lot with a lot of advice. So anyway, that's who Tim Black is. Him and I maybe had a little falling out a couple times, but no big deal. He's a very nice guy. I think he's a cool guy. He might be a little militant, you know, as far as, you know, in a Black Panther kind of way, that you either like it or you don't. He's got his narrative, and he sticks to it pretty well. and you're either going to dig it or you're not, but I hope you do. And that being said, let's go ahead and bring that up. I warned my mom this was going to be a screaming match, basically. He does not stay very calm. He'll get worked up just like I do.
Steven
Just
running.
does it with a little more class.
Tim Black hates white people was funny.
Tim Black hates white people. Yeah, that was one of my. Was that one of my my videos that I did? Yeah, he's militant, man. All right, here we go. Yeah, he got mad at me for that one.
Steven running.
Welcome
Tim,
back to the show.
Tim got with me on that. He's like, "What are you doing, man?"
My dear brother, I think about you. I think of George Carlin. You know, the Union Seminary is right across the street from George Carlin Place.
Oh, really? No kidding.
What a grand genius. He grew up on 121st and Broadway.
So this is the start of the Jimmy Dore Cornell West. Now, Tim Black gave all the context for this before it started, so I'm just going to give you a little bit. Cornell West is running for president of the United States right now. He's running independent, I believe. I don't think he's running as a Democrat. Yeah, he's running independent party or Green Party, maybe. But he's not Democrat or Republican. So Jimmy Dore had him on for an interview to interview him because he's a presidential candidate. Okay, and they disagree on a few things, and that gets talked about. Okay, now you know what's going on. Now you know who this is and what's going on. We'll go full screen with this.
He's got to be one of the greatest comic geniuses of the last 50 years, my brother.
Well, I certainly wish he was still alive right now because I know he would see through all the propaganda that we've been
Jimmy
living
thinks
through
he's
at least
George
since
Carlin or Lenny
2015. But
Bruce.
I want to just, before we start, I want to get this out there because some people misunderstood my coverage of your appearance with Anderson Cooper, and they took it as an attack on you when I was merely helping, trying to help you get the message right about the Ukraine war. Because as a radical,
yeah. So Jimmy Dore, the comedian, is trying to help the great thinker of our time how to get his message right. And I got to tell you, man, Tim jumps all over that, and he should. Jimmy Dore's got a hell of a nerve speaking to Cornell West in that way, and making it sound like, you know, he's got so much to offer Cornell West as
Horn. Cornell is running green.
As an advisor. Yeah, okay, Green Party. Thank you, Holly. As an advisor. Like Jimmy Dore's trying to play himself off like he's some kind of an advisor, and Cornell West should be really listening to him because Jimmy plays himself off to be this expert in politics. And if you look at Cornell West's face right there, condescending, yes. And even though it wasn't intentional, it comes off that way. He doesn't realize because he's such a jackass that he's being condescending. But look at Cornell West just swallowing it, just like, oh, God, really? Right off the bat, you're going to sit here and tell me I got my messaging wrong? You know, I think Cornell West has been honing his message for fucking 40 years, dude. Hammering away at it. And Jimmy Dore just pops on the scene and acts like, you know, I'm going to fix you and make you better. And boy, oh boy, watch Tim Black take the reins on this, guys.
Part of your job
this is
to
fantastic.
educate people on what's actually happening, and you have to be
Hey,
here we go.
Let me just interject here that this is one of the most condescending frame-ups that I've heard in a long time. In fact, I think this is the most condescending, egotistical, arrogant setup I've ever heard a commentator do. Hey, I've been, you know, I want you to know the reason why I was taking a dump on you is because I wanted to influence you and make you do better because you a dumb mofo and I'm Jimmy Dore. I'm a jack-off comedian and I know a lot more than you and I'm trying to lead you the right way, dummy. So let me set you straight. For some reason, people thought I was attacking you or that I was offensive in some way. And I'm never fucking offensive.
So what I'd like to do actually is I'm going to tweet at Tim Black and let him know I'm doing this. So give me 1 second to do that. Let me get the Rumble. Oh, I never posted this on Truth Social. I just realized I screwed that up. Oops. When you triple click something and it doesn't select the whole thing, it's so weird. It like selects part of it or whatever. Okay, so I'm reaching out to Tim Black. I had unfollowed him on Twitter. So I followed him back. It's funny. And the reason why I unfollowed him was because him and I were disagreeing on a lot of stuff, and I just didn't want to fight with him because I think he's a nice guy. You know, I didn't want to keep pecking at him, you know. All right, so that'd be great if he sees that. So Tim Black does an excellent job right here of calling this exactly what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, most of you wouldn't have to look much further in this video to get everything out of it. So, but wait. Listen to what Tim Black says here.
I'm Jimmy Dore. And you think that's okay. That's fine. No, it's not. So, let's keep going.
There was another point.
Still clear.
You know, there was another point. I don't know if we skipped by it or if he says it in a little bit. But I think he's going to make it. Yeah, he is. He's going to make the point here in a minute.
Here in explaining it to people.
He'll say it.
Especially about what's happening.
He'll be like, Cornell West should have packed up his bags and left right then and there.
Trying to attack you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was doing it more as a coach, trying to help you. And
whatever, Jimmy.
Who hired you to be coach? Kyle, Jimmy.
Oops. Freudian slip there, Kyle. Freudian slip there.
You?
Kyle Kalinske.
Seriously.
Somebody's been calling Kyle Kalinske out a lot.
What credentials
either that
qualify you to coach?
Either that, or maybe Tim Black just refers to all white men as Kyles. Which would totally make sense, too. That's cool.
Go candidates. I'm just saying, Johnson, it's a lot of this going on.
Drive West is too classy.
There is no
he is a classy man, dude. Whether you agree with Cornell West or you disagree with him, he is a loving, wonderful, classy individual, unlike Jimmy Dore. He has so much more class than Jimmy Dore will ever hope to have, even in Cornell West's pinky toe is more class than Jimmy Dore's whole clan will ever have. And that's his entire bloodline.
Ben, he wrote it down. He wrote this down. He thought it, then he wrote it, then he read it. That's 3 opportunities to do a better job.
That's 3 opportunities to do a better job. It's a great line, man.
Really?
Here it comes.
Really?
Here it comes.
I'm trying to coach you, boy.
Oh, boy. So.
This is what black people hear.
No. This is what persecution complex Tim Black always hears. And this is a problem, Tim, that you have. Jimmy isn't speaking down to him in a racial sense. He's speaking down to him from a political, educated sense, and you're taking it as racial. And, maybe there's something to that, Tim. I just don't see it. Maybe it's because I'm white that I don't see that. And it's worth looking into. I just think you interjecting the word boy in there isn't fair for Jimmy at this moment. Because, yeah, Jimmy's talking down to him, absolutely, but not as a white man speaking to a black man. I just don't buy that, But that's just my spin, and Tim's spin's a little different. Tim could be right.
Boy, you need to listen to me, boy.
Oh, God,
I'm trying to coach you up, boy. I'm trying to tell you, boy, that this is...
God.
That's how that sounds to us. I know how you think it sounds.
Right.
Because you're used to talking down to black people.
No, I'm not. I just think you take it a little too far, Tim.
I understand how you think it sounds. I'm telling you how it sounds to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? To us. And you can't discredit how because see, we're the receiver of it.
And see, Tim says this, makes this point, and then his chat is just like my chat. They don't say anything back to him, and he's like, well, I guess my chat doesn't agree with me. And I'm like, dude, those moments are so sad when your chat doesn't have your back.
We're the receiver of it, so all that matters is how we feel about what you've communicated. You don't get to say, well, that's not how I meant it. Damn it, you dumb blacks, you never get it the way. You're just so sensitive when I'm shitting on you.
Let's do a
You
dab.
always take it personal when we undermine you.
Cheers, everybody. No law regarding
Gosh,
cannabis.
it's
Holly.
I tell you.
Holly and
Get it right.
Dave
and that's what
Petition.
I'm going to be doing in this
Cheers.
interview also, because I was thrilled to hear that you're running third party. You got more.
This is where
The
he
fact
says,
that Dr. West did not just get off
There.
and cut off his modem right there.
Right there.
It's shocking to me, man.
right there.
He should have got, Dr. West, you should have
Right
got
there.
up and said, hey, man, it was that.
That's the point. That's the entire point. It was offensive from the beginning. Tim says he shouldn't even given Jimmy Dore the time for this interview after that. He should have hung up right then and there and said, thank you, my brother, but I think this interview's over. Good day, sir. Boom. And ended it. He ended up actually, Jimmy,
Mad. Cheers.
if you read the comments in the Jimmy Dore sections about what Jimmy said about Cornel West, you'll see that it's all a bunch of Jimmy Dore lackeys, a bunch of sheep that follow him, and they're all attacking Cornel West. Oh, I knew Cornel West was bad from the beginning. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 the militant Black Panther, blah, 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 all this shit. And, yeah, it's all, he's drummed up a lot of racism and hate towards black people. Jimmy Dore has in this, what he thought was him taking down Cornel West. It turns out that it's exposed Jimmy Dore for the racist that he is. And Tim Black just is going to go crazy on this, which is good and acceptable. My whole point here is, at this moment in time, this is all the video that you need to watch, really. At this point, you could turn it off, say, thank you, Tim.
Hollyhorn.
Thank you, Tim, you're right.
Nay, does that surprise you?
A little bit. Yeah, I thought Jimmy had a little bit more class, and he just proves, he proves me wrong at every turn. So, whatever. He's a classless motherfucker. Ripped me off $360. Fuck that guy.
Nice talking to you.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers, everybody but Jimmy Dore.
Jimmy just said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do more of the same thing I did in that last video where I talked down to you like you were my son. Like you came out of my gonads. Me, the jack-off comedian. I'm going to continue to talk down to you and coach you up, boy. Because you really need it.
Steven running.
Nobody else
Cheers.
sees what I'm talking about. Can the church say amen? Is somebody?
You hear that? Can a church say amen? Anybody else know what I'm talking about? Yeah. He's got the same problem I've got with my audience. People just sit there and don't say anything and don't interact with them. I know how that feels, Tim. It sucks. It sucks when your chat doesn't support you.
Dr. West would have been invited. I'm trying to tell you, Dr. West would have been well within his rights to get up right there and cut off this interview. Be damn what you think about it.
Courage than I do to do it. You're a better man than me. And so I appreciate you doing it, because you're getting the message out there about the Ukraine war, about the two-party duopoly. This is really important. And so if I just want to tell people, so if it seems like I'm being critical of Cornel West from here going forward to the election, what it is going to be is me trying to help make his message even better than it is.
Kings
Oh,
without
listen to
King of
this.
Cynthia,
So
he is right.
his message is great, right?
Firstly, I just want to say,
Negus Afro-Daindal. Using white man platform for silliness. Negus Afro-Daindal. Pimp hat. Hollyhorn. Yep, Negus.
I don't understand why you're agreeing with this person, Holly. I don't understand what they're saying. Who is Cynthia G?
Negus Afro-Daindal. This is why I only date white men.
Oh, whatever. Fuck you and get off my goddamn Why the fuck are you agreeing with that fucking racist cunt, Holly? I'm just kind of curious. What the fuck? You guys should read. I mean, look at the fucking name you just said hello to. Really? Negus? Really? Really, Holly? You didn't catch that?
Holly Horn. I meant about
It doesn't matter. Look at who you're talking to. You're talking to a racist troll on the internet. You didn't even bother looking at their name. And you're pumping them up. Don't be so quick to agree with people on the internet, please, people. Please. Use a little bit of awareness, man, and look at who you're talking to. You're talking to a fucking troll cunt. You know, did you agree with her when she said she only dates white men too, Holly? You didn't see that one coming, did you? Well, I did.
Holly Horn. I should have caught it.
You should have caught it.
Right.
Yeah, don't be so quick to pile on against Tim Black.
He just needs to tick around the edges. It's my job as a vascular political consultant that I am.
You know, that person obviously came in with that name to clown on Tim and then started talking shit about black people. And the first thing you did was you started agreeing with them. I appreciate your apology. You know, if that's what that is, you should have caught it. Yeah.
And I'm just going to...
I wish you had.
Going to help him out. If you don't understand what condescending is, please look it up in the dictionary. This is a very condescending way to start the program. No, what else I noticed? Nowhere else did I see Dr. West go. Has anyone else ever talked down to him this way? Now, Anderson Cooper was insulting, but in a different way. He was just dishonest, disingenuous, and lied in front of his face.
Well, I haven't lived.
This is a different type of disrespect. This right here is a level.
I haven't lived Cornel West's life, so I wouldn't know what he's been exposed to. I can't speak for Cornel West's life experience.
This is you got it.
But I'm sure he's been spoken down to before because of the color of his skin growing up in this country.
What are your notes of cinnamon? This is a special kind of condensation. This is a special kind of insult that's going on here. Let's keep going, guys.
Because I think it's really important that his message get out there.
On each side seems a little disingenuous. Holly Horn. It is. Thank you for accepting the apology. I need to be
If
more
that was an
vigilant.
apology, okay. Lowell, isn't it kind of racist to make it about race when there are people of every race on each side? Seems a little disingenuous. He's responding to racist tropes. Violent. It's not racist to make it about race when you're the race that's being persecuted. And I'm sorry, Violent, that you don't see that, but it's why, you don't make any fucking sense when you speak either.
That's what this is about.
Right.
Anyway, I just wanted
No,
to
it's
clear
not.
that up.
Pointing out racism is not racist. I'm just going to fucking block you too because you're an idiot. I can't talk to idiots, and I'm not going to waste my time talking to idiots. Fuck off.
Sure. I think the important thing always is, brother, that, the anthem of black folk is lift every voice, not lift every echo. You got a voice. I've got a voice. Our voices overlap. Our voices can have tension. Our voices can conflict. We can learn from one another. We proceed. We've got a similar critique of predatory capitalist society. We've got similar critique of a whole host of issues and certain things we disagree with. Well, that's understandable too. I'm learning from you. You learning from me. But it's the respect more than anything else that's crucial here. And I think I appreciate you starting off with that kind of a reflection.
And that's too bad because it was disrespectful what Jimmy said, and Cornel West missed the boat on that one. And I'm sorry. He's running cover for Jimmy Dore right now, and he shouldn't do that.
So now people make a big deal out of the fact that you endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, and now you're running.
Who are the people that make a big deal about that?
A lot.
Who are the people that make a big deal about
A lot of
I hate when
people.
people do this.
No, Tim. A lot of people. A lot of people. This happened with the Bernie Sanders thing. It happens with a lot of people. It happened with Hillary Clinton. It happened with everybody. So, you act like nobody noticed it. or nobody said anything. No, there's a lot of people that were disappointed when the people that were running against certain candidates decided to go and support the very candidates that they were claiming were killing this country. So you're being a little, you've got your blinders on a little too tight right now, Tim. You know, in all fairness to you, my friend.
Nobody on my show made a big deal out of it.
And I'm not here to defend Jimmy.
Well, you know, I do have
I'm here to defend the truth. And I'll keep him. I'll keep him honest.
I don't know. Maybe that has something to do
good
with
luck with this
but
motherfucker.
No, I have not heard, in all the articles and the smears and all the attacks that Cornel West has faced, I haven't heard them saying, hey, you supported Biden. I wonder what audience are these people? They wouldn't be Trump supporters? Really? Really?
There's a lot of Trump supporters that watch Jimmy Dore. He runs a lot of cover for Trump.
And the reason what was the reason you endorsed him in 2020, and what has changed since?
One, I was thoroughly convinced that we needed an anti-fascist coalition, and that included the kind of milquetoast warmongering neoliberals like Biden. And now it's fairly clear Biden had 4 years. He had 4 years to steal the thunder from any kind of Trump challenge. 4 years to try to speak to the needs of poor and working people. 4 years to try to cut back on the military adventurism. That's been characteristic of his whole career. And it's clear to me now that if the only opposition to the escalating neo-fascism in the country is going to be Biden, or Biden-like, then the fascism's coming anyway. We're going to have alternative vision, alternative institutions, alternative infrastructure that has an alternative passion. And so if all we can do is produce Democratic administrations that are caretakers, postponers of the Trump or Trump-like candidates, then the fascism's coming anyway. The only way you really get at the roots of fascism is to break from the corporate duopoly, to show how the two-party system is an impediment for the unleashing not only of American democracy, but
usually is. Not everybody's right 100% of the time, but that's impossible.
The 800 military units around the world, and the military budget taking 57 cents for every dollar. And so in that sense, there's been a shift. There's no doubt about that. And I keep in mind, I supported Ralph.
What? Okay, bye. Have a good workout. Love you too.
Bye. And in between, I had early supported Bill Bradley, and I had supported John Kerry as a kind of anti-right-wing coalition too, so that my jazz-like activities certainly can be characterized at times with a certain kind of inconsistency, but it's the timing of it. Each moment has its own context.
So now, our friend Nick Cruz.
Okay.
What he means by that is, like, when candidates are running in a primary, you're going to support or maybe go against a certain candidate for whatever reason. And then when you get to the general, you might change how you vote based on that election. So he changes his narrative based on that current time frame that he's in. I understand that. What he said just then makes perfect sense. A very intelligent person has to remain somewhat fluid with their politics and their social ideals in today's world, because everything is constantly changing around them. So it's good to have someone who's fluid and able to, understand the context of the specific time frame that they're living in at that moment, and be intelligent and be on point regarding, the issues at that time.
Before we
makes
go to
perfect
Nick,
sense.
Jimmy uses Nick to try to. I got a black friend. He's saying this, so hey. Before we get to that, why throw away that question? I want to say this, guys. I feel that it was above board for Jimmy to ask Dr. Weston's question. Why did you support Biden in 2020? That's a fair question. It would have been what I feel is a more ethical interview, a more above board interview if then, once Dr. West responded, because he told you, hey, it's clear to me now that Biden is this, these other things, and that he is not going to do anything to help to steer us away from fascism, and that him not doing what Joe Biden should have done only delays the progression of fascism. And he said there has been a shift in that way. So Dr. West is admitting, hey man, I probably shouldn't have did that shit. Like when Dave Chappelle was like, hey man, we should give Trump a try. People are like, hey, you can give Trump a try. Trump's racist. Trump did this. Trump did that. He's like, damn. And he had to hear that for months. And Dave Chappelle was like, damn, I really wish I hadn't said that shit. Well, that's how I feel Dr. West feels. Dr. West, I'm getting the impression that he wished he had not supported Joe Biden because he said it. And there's been a course correction. There has been a shift. Why did Jimmy say, okay, so moving forward, if this was you would not do that again? Why not further that conversation and just ask like, okay, so if you were presented with this opportunity again to endorse or not endorse Joe Biden, now knowing what you now know, would you make that choice again? But see, asking that follow-up question along the same lines won't give Jimmy what he wants, which is to paint Dr. West as some type of Biden lover and having Trump derangement syndrome. Let's keep going.
Says that many climate activists have no idea how much they destroyed all their credibility by endorsing and supporting Joe Biden, the Nord Stream pipeline bomber, and the largest eco-terrorist in modern human history.
So once again,
for president,
he's drilling down on this now, and he won't let it go now. He's brought up this tweet to try to shame Cornel West because he supported Joe Biden.
Anyone take climate or environmental issues seriously?
You already made the point, Jimmy. You should have moved on at that point. You already made the point that he supported Joe Biden, but now you're trying to say now that he did, and he wasn't able to see what Joe Biden was going to be a part of. Now that makes Cornel West inherently evil, and that's just not true. He supported a candidate. He was wrong. You can't blame everybody for something that fucking the candidate does.
Seriously, when you obviously do not. Now, what do you say back to that kind of critique that by endorsing him, you lose your credibility?
Well, it becomes, I think, I've been on my dear brother's show a number of times, and I think there's always a certain force in the argument of trying to be consistently third party across the board, having no relation whatsoever to the bourgeois politicians. I think there's force to that. But I think the credibility that one has really is holistic. It's wholesale rather than just retail. And the credibility that you have in regard to being consistently against war, consistently against capital, consistently against white supremacy, even if it has different kind of stances from one election to the next. That would be one of the ways in which I would try to respond to that. That would be the beginning of a response to that.
Okay. Here's another tweet from Nick. He says the same professional managerial class gaslight.
No, why didn't
they've been on his
show.
show.
I gotta stop.
Yeah.
Why didn't Jimmy do a follow-up on that question? Why not delve into it deeper and find out, okay, so what I'm taking Dr. West to mean is that, these climate change measures that Joe Biden took weren't far enough. And I agree with you that we should have more pushback about this. But I'm hoping that my track record overall on my stance on climate will suffice. That's why it says hotel versus retail. Wholesale is all of it. Retail are various points you disagree, but with the body of work, the body of the advocacy itself is strong, but people make mistakes. People don't always rise to every occasion that we might personally see, right, that they could rise to. But overall, his stances have been very consistently supportive of climate change advocacy. Advocacy against fossil fuels and things of that nature. So, but once again, Jimmy doesn't dig down at all. He's just all over the place. And now it's more, I want to get you another thing. Here's something else that Nick said. My black friend said this. And
black friend said this.
Here we go.
want us to take it easy on Bernie. They use civility politics as a weapon so they can comfortably sell out. The working class must reject this and start holding these people.
Jimmy is so doped up on, and it's not cannabis. He's on some Paxil or something. When you listen to him talk, man, he fucking sounds like a goddamn numbskull while he's talking. He used to be fast and quick, and he'd speak, and he'd have all his words ready to go, blah, blah. Now he talks like this, even when he's reading words off a page. I mean, the words are right there, but he can't even really open up his mouth anymore. What's up with that? Is he getting fucking collagen injections like a woman or something? I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
People accountable for selling us out. So
Probably
Bernie
is.
has sold us out, and I don't need you to call him a sellout or anything. That's fine. But I do want to see.
Cheers,
this
guys.
is your
Bill Lowry
response,
running
'cause Bernie was asked about your campaign, and he said it shouldn't happen, and he's against it, and he's.
Cheers, Holly.
Hold on, guys.
Holly, the only person
Why
visible
are
in
you
my
trying
chat.
to make Dr.
Holly
West
and Dave
go
Fishing.
after
Cheers.
You just said, hey, I know you're not going to call him a sellout. I know you're not going to do this and not going to do that.
Hoot and
So
howl.
why are you
And hoot and
asking
howl.
him to?
Cheers.
Oh, that's why we got to go with Trump somehow. We got to somehow paint Dr. West as a Biden supporter.
Holly Horn. Cheers.
And endorsing
Right.
Biden, and of course, that is just garbage. And so this is how you responded.
And you even in love, people have deep disagreements about these things. But I think again, he's fearful of the neo-fascism of Trump.
Hey, man, he said he disagrees with Bernie supporting Biden. He just said he disagrees with it. We all know he disagrees with Bernie supporting Biden. What do you want him to say?
Call himself a
Oh,
hypocrite.
we know. He didn't say it the way you want him to say it. Yeah, maybe because there's a personal relationship with him. Maybe that he doesn't feel it's necessary. I've already said I disagree with him.
Tim,
There's been other interviews.
the point is here, it's hypocritical, okay? It's hypocritical of Dr. Cornel West. And that's all. You say, okay, that was a little hypocritical of you to, what wasn't okay for Bernie Sanders is okay for you. That's hypocritical, Doctor. Doctor goes, you're right. You caught me. Can we move on to the next thing now? No, we're going to spend fucking an hour talking about this issue that you supported Joe Biden. Wow. Get over it, Jimmy, you fucking douchebag. Get the fuck over it and move on to the next question. Holy
Well,
shit.
Dr. West went harder than this.
I
This
can
is
speed this
not
up a little bit.
the only time Dr. West has addressed this issue. It's not the only time. He said that he thought that Bernie was missing the mark on this. That Bernie was not seeing clearly on this issue. He was much more firm in other interviews. You didn't play the other interview clips. You're playing the clip where he was like, kind of early on in this process about this. This is like the first, Tesla, I think it was Tesla who asked that question. That was like the first time he'd been asked about it. And maybe he wasn't as harsh as, I don't know. But obviously, like, it's kind of a non-issue because obviously Dr. West believes he's the better candidate. He's running. And obviously, Dr. West believes Bernie should endorse him. Why? Because he's the one running against Biden.
Now, I got to say, that's a great point. You're worried about him endorsing Joe Biden in the last election against Donald Trump. He's saying, hey, he's running against him now. How's that? Better than you. You're not. You could have. So he's better than fucking you. He's actually trying to solve the problem by running against the guy now. So Jim Black makes an excellent fucking point right here.
Obviously, he believes that. So I don't understand what the point is. What the point is. He's running against Biden. So how are you saying that he's not standing hard enough against Biden when at the end of the day, Cornel West is running against Biden and whoever the nominee for the Republican Party is, it looks like it will be Trump. But I don't even understand. Folks, please let me know what's up because I don't understand this.
So when my what I would say to you here, and this is a big point that I'm trying to impress upon you going forward, that when you do that, you sound a little bit like Joe Biden, and what you're doing is you're giving a pass to Bernie Sanders and anybody else
What the
for
hell? Now you're saying he sounds like Joe Biden. Folks, you don't see how disrespectful this is. Seriously. Now you're saying he sounds like Joe Biden. Really? That's what he sounds like?
Look at Cornel West's face right there. Just like has to.
Man, it must be nice to be Jimmy Dore, man, because
It's like eating a lemon.
Allow anything. You sound like Joe Biden because you are not attacking Bernie. because Bernie endorsed Joe Biden. That don't even make sense. But see, that's why it's important that we call this out. That's why it's important that we do this show. Folks, comments, like, subscribe, do something. That's why it's important, because I have not seen this type of granular dissecting of this conversation to this point. And I did a couple of live streams, and I didn't see them make this point. Folks, it doesn't make sense. He's running against Biden. Now you're saying he sounds like Biden.
Lesser of two evils. So you're endorsing the Democrats' message in their campaign. And so now people can dismiss your candidacy and say, well, we got to worry about the neo-fascism of Trump, as if Joe Biden isn't worse, which he is. He's a bigger fascist. And he just crushed a union strike on the railroad, which is the definition of fascism. He's now trying to saber rattle with two nuclear powers, nuclear war, nothing more important than that. And what he's doing in Ukraine, you know exactly what he's doing, right? So he's the worst warmonger in the world. 300,000 Ukrainians have already been slaughtered in this proxy war that was provoked by NATO, which you know. So when do you think that when you say that about, when you call Donald Trump a neo-fascist and you don't say that about Joe Biden, what do you say when I tell you that you're undercutting your own campaign and you're...
Okay, now I can't believe I have to do this. I don't know about the undercutting part, but Jimmy Dore makes perfect sense here in what he said. Getting up to his point, all of the pieces of straw that he brought weren't actually pieces of straw. They're really good, solid facts. And I'll give Jimmy credit for what he just said. But then it's the summary that's the piece of straw. Then it's like, well, you did all of this, or you said all of that, or it went like this. And now I think you running is hypocritical, or you not attacking... I don't understand what he's upset about something that Cornel West did back in 2020, and I don't understand why that is so pressing now that he's running against the guy.
You are propping up the Democratic message, which is that they are the lesser of two evil, and you have to vote for Joe Biden so we don't have fascism. By the way, we already have fascism, as we all know. Fascism is the joining
against Biden now.
Yeah, he's running against him. That's a great point, man. I mean, what more opposition, a display of opposition does Jimmy require from the doctor, you know? He obviously forgave him over the last 2 years that he's been on the show for endorsing Biden, because they've been friends for the last 2 years. So why now is it a problem now that he's running for president of the United States?
Of corporate and government to screw the worker, and that's exactly what Joe Biden, the Democrats, and Pete Buttigieg did. And so, they will keep doing it, and they're not stopping it. And they're also for censorship, which is this hallmark of fascism. So this idea that
Okay. I agree with this with Jimmy. This I agree. And look, this is not easy for me to agree with him because I know how I feel about Jimmy. I have very...
You guys, how fucking funny is that? Me and Tim, I haven't seen this yet. I didn't get anywhere near this part. But I came to the same conclusion that Tim Black just came up with. From that, what Jimmy said. I said, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to defend Jimmy, but I'm going to have to defend the truth. So what's that an indicator for you? That Tim Black defends the truth, even when it means he has to go against his narrative, which is Jimmy Dore's an asshole, because Jimmy Dore is an asshole. But at the same time, at this point, when the asshole says something we agree with, we can't deny facts. So Tim and I, we have this in common, and this is one of the things I love about Tim Black. Not the fact that him and I agree on something. We agree on a lot. It's the fact that he defends the truth when his reputation might be on the line a little bit over it. He doesn't care. The truth is more important.
Very fundamental disagreements with him about a lot of issues. I think Jimmy is a soft racist, if not a hard racist. Just racist. That's nothing. I know most people don't think it. I know he doesn't believe it, but I believe he does. I believe he is.
He's anti-Semitic for sure.
I will say that Joe Biden and Trump both are neo-fascists. Varying degrees, no matter.
Okay, so
they are. I don't even care about the term fact.
You're hearing it from a guy who was born and raised Jewish. Jimmy Dore's an anti-Semite. You're hearing it from a man that was born and raised African American, that Jimmy Dore is a fucking racist. You're hearing it from both me and Tim Black. You decide how you feel about that. You be the judge.
Fascist. I really don't. Who gives a shit? They're both not what we need for poor working people, for black people. Black people don't need neither one of those people in office. That's how I see it, okay? That's how I see it. But I feel the same way. I feel the same way Jimmy does about Cornel. I feel the same way about him. I feel that Jimmy's soft on Trump, and he's giving Trump, like, an express lane. Like, yeah, he's giving Trump the express lane, and making, so he's doing the exact same thing. His lack of staunch defense against Donald Trump, to me, is allowing Trump, is supporting Trump in acknowledgement it's okay for you guys to support Trump. You guys don't feel that way? Does anybody else understand what I'm saying? Jimmy Dore, and a lot of the people that follow the Jimmy Dore crowd, in my opinion, based on evidence, based on what I see them say, I go away feeling, they don't fault you if you vote for Trump. They would understand if you vote for Trump. If you vote for Biden, they don't understand at all. So that is a... Tactically, I feel like that is a move towards Trump. Okay, let's keep going.
Donald Trump is more of a fascist than Joe Biden. Undermines your own campaign. There's no doubt about that. And so, what I would encourage you to stop doing that. What do you say back?
No, we deeply disagree on that.
Yeah, then that's fair. No. It's fair to say that Donald Trump is more of a fascist than Joe Biden if you want to look at women's rights and flipping the Supreme Court so that he could take women's rights away from them. You could look at that as... women look at that as fascist. Women had their rights taken away from them. Women who were pro-abortion now feel like Donald Trump is a fascist. So to women, I can understand how you might say that Trump is more of a fascist than Biden is. Jimmy makes some good points, but this is an opinion thing, man. You know, who's more of a fascist? Who adheres more to fascism? It's going to be a hard thing to prove, but it's interesting to listen to both sides of it.
Your advice here.
One thing's for sure, both of them are fucking fascists, and Jimmy can't defend Donald Trump for changing judgeships so that he could control abortion law around the country as anything but fascist. Because that's what fascists do. They manipulate the system so that they can impose their fucking rule over everybody because they feel like everyone is doing so much better under their own personal beliefs of how everyone should be living. And Donald Trump literally thinks he knows what's best for all of us. And to me, that's fucking psychotic.
Both fascists.
Yeah, it was reversed under Biden, I know. And they sat there cuck-faced while it happened to him like, oh, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yo, that was very magnanimous of Dr. West to hear the political...
It's almost like they're working together.
Coach Dore instruct him how he's undermining his own campaign. And then proceeded with a very amicable type conversation. Like, I don't think...
quarter of the hour, no law regarding cannabis. Cheers,
like,
Holly.
Oh, you just told me I suck.
And Mrs. Ramsey is here. Mrs. Ramsey and Holly. I see both of you in the chat. Cheers.
Okay, fine. Well, I appreciate your opinion, man. Let's keep talking. I can't imagine many people doing that. Y'all people, you're not giving Cornel West, like, nothing for going through with this shit? I mean, let's face it, man. This is not...
respectful way, but we do, and I disagree with Brother Nick on this, too, that I just got back from Mississippi. You know that. You know what the Jenkins and Parkins, the two brothers brutalized by the police. They're at the church, the Klan still running wild. Not just with votes, but terrorizing black folks. The Goon Squad finally got caught by two lawyers, Brother Malik and Brother Trent. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you talk about fascism, you're talking not just about the rule of big money, not just the rule of big military, not just the rule of corporate power, so that it's oligarchic in essence, but you're also talking about dictatorial rule, no elections, the elimination of dissident voices, and then the scapegoating of the most vulnerable, which is the immigrants, it could be workers, it could be black people, Jews, Arabs, and so forth. See, under Biden, what you have is a fascist dimension domestically, especially against black folk and others. You and I, the very fact that we're having this dialogue without being eliminated overnight, a fascist regime could completely call into question with the use of arbitrary power. That's what happens in the mass incarceration regime vis-a-vis poor black people and others, right? So that is the fascist dimension. Simply so in terms of militarism abroad. So that there's fascist elements, my brother, there's fascist dimensions. But with Trump, when you have calling into question transfer of power and so forth, that is not the same thing. And so that doesn't undermine my campaign at all. The campaign's about truth.
100% undermines your campaign. 100%. You're shooting yourself right in the dick before you even start. So that's just bad. You're getting bad advice. I don't know who's advising you, but they're giving you horrible advice. January...
I'm a free man.
Dude.
Yeah, because see, Jimmy Dore, he's telling you, Dr. West needs to understand that Jimmy Dore's audience are people that are very soft on Trump. Some of them are voting for Trump.
That was crazy.
The portion of his people vote for Trump.
The way
the people that watch
Jimmy just responded to Dr. Cornel West was crazy.
Trump deserves criticism. We're going to argue that Trump deserves criticism. I'd like to know how many video content pieces that Dore put out about Trump. I just did nine things about Trump people need to consider. Because I saw this shift of everybody going, oh, Trump's much better. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on Biden, but I made a video bringing out 9 points about Trump that people don't talk about. Oh, they say, oh, Trump the victim. And Trump put these horrible conservative judges in place. Trump has done a number of things his damn self that are very, very much fascist, neo-fascist.
You know, saying that trans people can't be in the military.
We can look at that. And that's the reason
that was fucking dangerous. A ban on Muslims.
The overwhelming what I've seen.
I mean, it's fucking crazy.
They really can't stand Biden, man. Let's just keep it real. The public, the world is against Biden. 70% of voters don't even want the guy to run again. But I put out a video being critical of Trump because it needs its place. It needs to be on the table. People need to recognize it. And it's important that that be a part of the conversation. And I wanted for the record to show that I didn't give Trump an easy lane. That I'm not allowing Trump to just skirt by while I sit back all day and shoot at Biden. The easiest target in the last 20 years is Joe Biden. Even easier than Hillary to go after. Because he was vice president. And Hillary was a senator that did nothing. Nothing. So we didn't have time for Secretary of State we could go after her. And the rest is right. I'm getting on point. My bad, guys. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Free man,
Okay.
but,
So January-
but I want to hear your argument. I want to hear your argument as to how Biden is more fascist than Trump.
Trump
Just
did-
lay
Oh,
it
this
out
would be
right
good.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Great.
The reason why
I
the
can't
deep
believe
state
this.
Russiagated Trump was because he wouldn't bomb enough to calm them down. So he wouldn't do enough bombing.
This is fucking great because this is exactly what I want to hear from Jimmy Dore right now. Why is Joe Biden more fascist than Donald Trump? This is an all opinion, but you know he's got a really convincing freaking argument. So
The
check
reason
it
they
out.
impeached him because he wouldn't ship arms to Nazis in Ukraine, and he was against that. So that's
So just, are you defending Trump as somehow being a person who is? I mean,
So-
I don't understand. I don't understand your argument at this point, though, man. What are we talking about? What are we
okay.
talking
So there's
I want to understand what the content of your argument is, because one can, in fact,
okay.
bring critique to bear on the system as a whole with the two corporate wings, but somehow, what do you say to trans and gays and lesbian brothers and sisters of Trump that they're right?
He says nothing about that. In fact, he said that's a distraction. It's a distraction about gays and trans rights. He don't care about that. He don't care about black rights either. Only people, only race in America that had to go fight for rights. They don't care about that either. That's a distraction as well. That's just a method for them to distract us while they screw over the working class. So let's focus on class. All those black people lynched. So Dr. West asked a question, said, okay, so why do you feel this way? And are you gonna, so he honestly, it seems like, in my opinion, Dr. West is saying, I honestly don't know where you're coming from. Tell me why you think Biden is more fascist than Trump. This is a loser because, not because of the way Dore's gonna frame it, it's just a loser because they're both fascists. They're both horrible. We want Cornel West to defeat both of them, right? That's what we want, guys. We want West to defeat both of them. So it doesn't matter to what degree you
That guy does it for just a second.
If Cornel gives Trump a 7 on the fascist scale and Biden a 6, it don't matter. And if Dore gives it the other way around, he goes, no, Biden's an 8, Trump's a 2. That's crazy. That's crazy. But okay. But it doesn't matter because we want Dr. West to defeat both of them.
So that's again. Joe Biden is responsible for the mass incarceration, not Donald Trump. Who is more responsible for black and brown people being locked up and America being the largest penal colony in the world? Is it Donald Trump or would it be Joe Biden? By the way, this conversation is a loser for your campaign. Sitting here trying to make the argument.
It could be a loser for you too, though.
Trying to make the argument.
No, you trying to make the case that somehow
Wow, that is so fucking disrespectful. What Jimmy just said to the doctor. He said, you coming on here and allowing me to expose you, it's going to make you look really bad. And look at the smile on Jimmy's face while he said it. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say this is racist, but it's hateful and it's childish from Jimmy.
So that's again. Joe Biden is responsible for the mass incarceration, not Donald Trump. Who is more responsible for black and brown people being locked up and America being the largest penal colony in the world? Is it?
That's true. It's Joe Biden.
Donald Trump, or would it be Joe Biden?
It's Joe Biden. It's true. But
by the way, this conversation is a loser for your campaign.
That right there. Look at the way he's. By the way, this conversation is a loser for your campaign. You coming on here and letting me interview you is a big mistake because I'm way smarter than you and I'm going to expose you for all of your stupid politics. Really, Jimmy? Is that how you win hearts and minds? Because I got to tell you, when you go on Twitter and you read the responses to this, his audience loves him. And they all now hate Cornel West, and nothing but hatred towards Cornel West. I didn't see anything supportive of Cornel West. And I was like, wow, man, this is fucking psychotic. This is a cult of morons. It's a cult of personality. His personality. And they love Jimmy Dore, bro, and he can do no wrong. I'm glad I got out of that fucking thing, bro. Holy shit.
Sitting here trying to make the argument.
Tim Black would be proud of me.
Trying to make the argument.
No, but you trying to make the case that somehow the Democrats are more fascist than the Republicans. The fascism cuts across the board.
But that's not how you say it, though. You say it's only Donald Trump. You don't say it cuts across the board. You call Joe Biden milk.
See, this is a problem I have with this argument. Jimmy Dore. Wasn't it Dr. West who came up with the two wings on the same bird? Like, Cornel West is the most going after both sides that I've seen a politician be. Maybe because he's not a politician.
And look, and now he's trying to get elected, so he's got to tone it down a little bit. He's got to tone the rhetoric down. Jimmy, you're not helping anything, by just trying to drill down on his support for Joe Biden. God.
Once again, we're back to where you don't articulate things exactly the way I would articulate them. Not that Cornel West has a policy you disagree with. Not that he has a stance on a certain issue that you're for that he's against, but he's just not articulating it the same way that you would articulate it. Therefore, hey, let me sink the hounds of hell on Dr. West. Let me show how incompetent he is because he disagrees with the way that my tonality, right? My delivery or my communication on this particular issue, when at the end of the day, he's running against the guy you hate. But that's not enough to run against the guy you hate. To have the Democratic Party shaking in their boots about what Cornel West could do to the black vote. And we're going to get into later where Cornel West has the Democrats shaking in their boots about Cornel West attracting the black vote. And we have Jimmy Dore making the play, basically, that you need to say fuck the black vote. But we're going to keep going, man. This don't make sense.
And you call Donald Trump a fascist. So you're not saying Joe Biden is a fascist, really?
I said there's fascist dimensions to the Biden project. You're absolutely right.
It's like you're campaigning for Joe Biden almost when you're doing this. That's what it sounds like.
Come on, man. Now, you don't think that was over the top? You don't think that was disingenuous? You don't think that was gaslighting? Really? He said you sound like you're campaigning for Joe Biden. Really? Is that that's how you see that? Really? That's okay. That seems fair. That seems like a good faith argument to say that Dr. West is campaigning for Joe Biden then. That's what we're doing. That's what we have people.
Like.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
But that's what I'm not saying you are doing that. I'm saying that's what it.
Oh, and now, he's been watching a lot of the debate bros. The debate bros are in the house. I'm not saying that's what you are. I'm saying that's what you sound like. This is what I'm hearing. This is what other people are saying. I'm not saying it. I mean, I'm saying it, but I'm not saying it. You understand what I'm saying?
Sounds like.
What it sounds like to you. That's what it sounds like to you. And you got a right to be wrong. You got a right to be right. It sounds like to you. But it doesn't sound like that to a whole host of others at all, though, brother. Not at all.
All right. Again, I'm saying this out of love for you because I do have deep love for you. I have deep respect for you.
I gotta tell you, you got a
agree
weird
on
way.
almost everything.
I know, but you got a weird way of showing it, Jimmy. You're very disrespectful in your delivery to Dr. Cornel West. He doesn't deserve to be talked down to like you're doing. And when you do it, people like Tim Black perceive that as you being racist against African Americans with the whole boy thing. And Tim makes a really good point. You really should class it up a little bit, man. It's, you want to have a conversation like this. I appreciate it. I appreciate you and Dr. Cornel West having disagreements and having this conversation. I do. But I just wish you would show him more respect. If you guys have ever seen me interview anybody on this show, it never gets like that, man. Because what's the fucking point? God, man.
Message of your campaign, right? That's the only thing. I would hope it would become even more focal. Well, let me just put it this way.
But are you suggesting that the message should be that Biden is a greater fascist than Trump? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that you should talk about fascism or any of that stuff. I think you should.
No, but fascism is very real.
I think
you don't think fascism is real in the country?
No,
we're living in it.
No. Jimmy Dore's perception of fascism is a state requiring you to wear a mask. That's his idea of fascism. His idea of fascism is the country, pushing vaccines on everybody. He looks at that as fascism. He looks at all the wrong things as fascist. But he looks at someone like Ron DeSantis as a freedom fighter and somebody who's fighting for the people. The actual fascist is Ron DeSantis. He doesn't understand that. He's got a big problem around that. He's got a blind spot.
Escalating in terms of intensity.
It has since Biden became
and his
president.
blind spot is COVID and how it's been handled.
They've censored everybody. They've crushed unions. They've started another war, and now they're saber rattling with 2 nuclear powers. I don't know how worse it could get. And by the way, he still hasn't let people out of prison. He still hasn't given student loan. He's still denying us health care. He's an enemy of the worker and a tool of military industrial.
Jimmy makes really good points right there. He's making very good points, and everything he's saying right now I agree with.
But we all feel the same way you feel about Joe Biden. That's why he's running against him.
Right.
He's running against Joe Biden.
Right. Tim makes a great point.
Everybody that Cornel West knows, who's attached to the Democratic Party.
I wonder if Cornel West says that. That's why I'm running against him, Jimmy. That's why I'm here.
And you're talking as if he isn't running against Joe. You're talking as if he supports Joe, which is nonsense, folks. This is nonsense. Why keep framing it like he's a Biden supporter? I'm telling you, it's because I feel that Jimmy Dore has a
Holly Horn.
He has a plan. He has a strategy.
Classic gaslighting. I'm in.
And this strategy is to appease to Trump supporters and his base. That's what Dore's doing. Why else would you bring Dr. West on the show and keep on staying? We're still talking. They're half an hour in, dog. Well, not that long, 15 minutes in. And they're still talking about who's worse, Biden or Trump. Come on, man. Both are worse. Both are worse. Why aren't you moving on to something of substance?
On and on until the break of dawn.
Before we do that, we got to go throw black people under the bus. And let me tell you more about what you should be doing.
Gaslighting. I'm saying this.
A complex in Wall Street. There's no bigger fascist in the country than Joe Biden. The reason why black and brown people are locked up again isn't because of Trump. It's because of brother.
It's not just because of Biden. It's because of the system. It's because of the system. It's because of the Congressional Black Caucus too. It's because of the system. It's because of white supremacy. It's not just Biden. Okay? Black people know this. It's not just Biden. It was never just Hillary. It was never just Obama. And it is not just Biden. It is the system. That's why it's called systemic racism, Jimmy. That's why it's called white supremacy, Jimmy. That's why it's called institutional racism, Jimmy. Because it's not just one thing. It's not just one person. Joe Biden didn't get that done alone. There were a lot of people signed on to that bill. There were a lot of people that supported that 3 strikes law you're talking about and all the other legislation, all the other law and order legislation that Joe Biden was either had his fingerprints on or signed on to in the late 80s and the early 90s. He's not the only one. He's not by himself. There were several people that did that to us. To make it only Biden, it's crazy because it's not only Biden. It's the whole damn thing, Johnson. It's the whole thing. Let me keep going. So I agree. I can't stand it. I talk about it all the time, Dore fans, doorknobs. I talk about this all the time, man. I talk about it all the time, what they have done systemically to black America. But I don't put it, of course I blame Biden, but I blame all of them. I blame them all. Why ain't Jimmy blaming them all? Including Trump. Stop acting like Trump ain't a part of this shit.
For Biden.
In fact, guys, real quick. In fact, I have a problem with people that try to equate the Central Park Five to Joe Biden. It ain't the same thing. Okay? So, Jimmy, you bring that up, like, I don't see why you're going here, but I just want to say for the record, I do see the different levels of racism at work and anti-blackness at work between a 94 crime bill and writing an op-ed about the Central Park Five. I see the difference, okay? But that doesn't mean either one are good. It doesn't mean we got to do a measuring contest about which one's worse, man. Especially when the person that you're talking to is challenging both parties. I don't get it. Let's keep going, fam.
And Joe Biden is proud of that. He brags about that. He brags about the crime bill, and he will never apologize for it. So I'm just letting you know that I really want your campaign to pick up traction. This is the opposite way to do it. Who's ever advised...
Oh, he accidentally muted himself. Yeah, he accidentally muted himself. Uh-oh. If he looks at his chat, they're probably saying, "You're muted, bro." Oh my God, he's going off. I hate when I do that shit. At September 11th, the anniversary of the World Trade Center bombing. You're supposed to say happy 9/11.
It sounds like an infiltrator.
But why you keep saying advise me? I'm thinking for myself.
Oh, damn,
Okay, I don't mean to insult you. That's not
just a question of advising.
Okay.
I don't ask who's advising you. You thinking for yourself. You're a free man too, aren't you?
You're right. You're right. Okay, I was trying to... I really want your... Again, and by the way, he still hasn't let people out of prison. He still hasn't given student loan. He's still denying us health care. He's an enemy of the worker and a tool of...
My bad, guys. What I said was that Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr. are the better people to respond to the criticism that Dore is leveling. Not Dr. Cornel West. Is Dr. West is the one who's challenging Joe Biden. So why are you asking Dr. West? Why are we trying to measure Dr. West's disgust or level of disagreement with Joe Biden when obviously he disagrees? He's the one running against Joe Biden and Trump. But it feels like Jimmy Dore and a lot of people that support him want Dr. West to table his issues with Trump and just go after Biden. And personally, like basically, realistically, that's something that Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr. need to do. Not Cornel West.
Military-industrial complex in Wall Street. There's no bigger fascist in the country than Joe Biden. The reason why black and brown people are locked up again isn't because of Trump. It's because of Brother Biden. And Joe Biden, he's proud of that. He brags of...
And that was disrespectful what he just did there.
Yeah.
That was disrespectful right there. That was taking a shot.
He's
right?
mocking.
We're just going to let that just go, right?
He's mocking the doctor.
No respect for a brother.
I caught it.
There it is.
I caught it, bro.
Damn, man.
About that. He brags about the crime bill, and he will never apologize for it. So I'm just letting you know that
Tim's
I really
good,
want
man.
the campaign to pick up traction.
He's
this
on
is the
fire,
opposite
bro.
way to do it. Who's ever advising you sounds like an infiltrator.
But why you keep saying advise me? I'm thinking for myself, brother. I'm a
Okay,
free
I don't mean to
black
insult you.
man.
That's
not just a question of advising.
Okay.
I don't ask who's advising you. You thinking for yourself. You're a free man too, aren't you?
You're right. You're right. Okay, I was trying to put it in a nice way.
I was use that kind of language, my brother. You want to be respectful.
I'm trying to be respectful.
No, you're not trying to be respectful, man. Let's keep it a buck. You're not trying to be respectful. This whole interview has been the opposite of respectful. And you framed it this way. This is the way that you thought it up. This is the way you wrote it down. He's not like he's not coming on willy-nilly. He's prepared for this. These are the questions he wanted to ask. This is the narrative he wanted to set up. He set the tone. He laid out the theme of it. And then he says, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
That was my.
I appreciate
you have to try very hard
sometimes, but I appreciate it. But we just have disagreements on these things.
Again,
if I undermine the campaign for you, then you're free to have your own view and vision.
Okay.
And people are free to listen
Okay.
to you and be persuaded or not. And
Okay.
I've got mine. I'm listening for your insight. Absolutely right. No doubt about that.
So let me just say this. So the point of running a third-party campaign is to offer an alternative to the two major parties, to bring together disaffected members of those parties, along with independents and others who feel alienated from the political system as it exists. And the best way to do this is by running on economic issues.
Yeah, stop talking about black people. Stop talking about black people, gay people, all these other people. Stop doing it. Stop talking about it. Yeah, just talk about our money. Talk about our money. See, Jimmy Dore does not understand. Jimmy Dore wants Cornel West to be the first black candidate in the history of black candidates to not get a black vote. That's what Jimmy Dore wants. See, Jimmy Dore is very comfortable with telling a black man, hey, man, leave the black shit alone. This is not good for you. Focus on our economics because white people don't give a shit about black people issues, and you're only hurting yourself when you talk about black people issues. And here I go reading something that I wrote or someone wrote or something. I don't know where I got it
It's
from.
Josh G
But I'm
over
gonna
on
bore the
Rumble.
hell
What's
out
up,
the
buddy?
audience by going over this thing that I wrote or someone wrote. I don't care who it is. It tells you that you're wrong to talk about black issues, anything other than economics. I don't know if I'm gonna sit through this. Something.
That unite us, but which neither major party is willing to address because they're both beholden to the same powerful corporate interests. The Democrat Party long ago abandoned the working class in favor of beating the drum on cultural issues, and now that's all the Democrats have to run on. So if voters are looking for a party running on trans rights and...
So that's why Nick Brown and them, that's why, see folks, when I was criticizing, I'm sorry guys, but a few years ago when I was criticizing the MPP, the Movement for People's Party or the People's Party, whatever it's called, because they didn't have any black shit on their website, they weren't supporting any black issues, Jimmy Dore was right behind them. He was with them. See, Jimmy Dore is the People's Party. He is Nick Brown. He are these people that allow people in the chat to say the word, to use the word nigga, but say Karen is the same thing. That's these people. That they didn't need to, they went on and on about how they didn't need to focus on black issues. That wasn't important. That was a distraction. That's a group. America's treatment of black people and how black people are, they have to be centered in any campaign that I'm ever going to support. Just have to be. That's the way America's made up, and if you're going to be a progressive party, in the least, you have to have a focus on black Americans. Not the way the Democrats do it. Of course not the way the Democrats do it. Come on, man. We know the Democratic Party's full of shit. You don't think people can see that there's a difference between Dr. West and Joe Biden? Really? People are saying, and people are saying, and people are thinking that really only morons are sitting around going, hey, man, I don't know, man. Cornel West seems just like Joe Biden and Trump. Unless he listens to Jimmy Dore's advice.
Calling Donald Trump and his supporters white supremacists, they can already vote for Democrats. The role of a third party is to focus not on the identity politics that divide us, but on...
Dr. West never called the supporters of Donald Trump white supremacists. That's some liberal shit. That's some Joe Biden people shit. I want to see that where Dr. West, in fact, Dr. West has been like, he wants to go and talk to Trump supporters. He feels like that, talking about the same issues that you're talking about, he would go share that with them. He's already said that's what he intends to do. Where'd you write this down? Where'd you get this from?
Or economic issues that unite us along class lines, like Christian Smalls did at Staten Island.
Christian Smalls is running about Amazon. He wasn't running on a class action lawsuit about race. He was running, he's not running at all. Christian Smalls was trying to build a union in Amazon against the Amazon of the atrocities of working as an Amazon employee and how they treat employees. And he wanted workers' rights and workers' compensation and workers' safety. Of course it's about economics. That's different. Christian Smalls is not running, I'm just going to pick a random black person to make my point. You people going to have to decide if you want to ride with Jimmy Dore and be that black guy, or you going to stand up for yourself. I made my decision, man. I made my decision. Say what you want to say about me. I made my decision. The rest of y'all need to make your decision, because this shit is atrocious. I'm just going to choose Christians. Why did you choose Christian? Why? It's a lot of people to choose. Why did you choose him? Because he black. And see, Christian ain't talking about black people. I don't even know Christian's views on black Americans, because That's not what the cause was he was dealing with. Christian ain't running for president. He was trying to build a union. Come on, man.
Do you think he led with LGBTQ trans rights and white supremacy?
No, because he's not trying to build a political party, nor is he trying to run for office. Because then he'd have to talk about issues that impact the what? The people there. So if you were trying to build a union with workers, you talk about workers' rights, you talk about away time, sick leave, vacation, hourly wage, protective gear. You talk about things that people, break time, bathroom time. People were having to go to the bathroom in jugs because they couldn't take a bathroom break. Like, these are the things you talk about. But if you're trying to run for an office and you got black people and white people and gay people and trans people and Asian people and Latino people and indigenous people, you got to talk about issues that are germane to those people. Why nobody, like, why do I have the distinct feeling that a lot of people didn't focus on this part about Jimmy Dore's horrific stance? Why am I getting that feeling? Yeah, I feel like Jimmy Dore had a point about, hey man, both of them are fascists, keep it moving. But come on, dog. Grab random black guys. See, that's one of the reasons why I stopped messing with these
crypto just fell, guys.
People like Jimmy Dore.
Crypto has fallen.
To further their own
Announcement, crypto has fallen 25,248 Bitcoin, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down. We're hitting the low was 25,100 and it bounced back up. 25,100 and it just hit it. So it's at 25,238 right now. So that's what's up. Let me go like this. There we go. And then you guys could see the drop happening. Ethereum, Harmony, it's all right there on screen. We'll keep that there. Let me just do that. And you guys keep your eye, but the market is crashing right now for some reason. All right, here we go. Back into this and getting ready to do a dab.
Bullshit. And there's camouflage for their own.
Yes, this is Tim Black. Made famous by my video, Tim Black Hates White People. He wasn't too happy with me on that one.
On activities. And camouflage with their own badass takes and stances. And then they go, see, Tim Black thinks this. See, Tim Black. But no, we got Tim Black. We got a spook at the desk. We got a spook in the group. Look what we got. We got us our black. We got our own black. He does what we want him to do. No, he don't.
We got our own black.
No, he does not.
Tim's fucking hilarious. I love you, Tim. You're fucking awesome. All right, you guys, no law regarding cannabis. Cheers to a tropical thing. Holly Hornet. It's Joshi, Mrs. Ramsey, in the Rumble over there on the kick. Dave Fishing, of course. All of you, thank you for tuning in. Cheers, guys.
Or do you
Dabs
think
for everybody.
On class lines? That's what we have to do. You have to organize, meet people where they are. So what is your...
Yeah, meet people where they are, which is deny that they are racist, ignore their racism and their bigotry, and go ahead with, just pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, Fred Hampton would meet with everybody. He'd meet with everybody. Daryl Davis, he'd meet with Klan members and make them give them their hoods. They would give their hoods when they would talk to Daryl Davis because he was so good at talking down the racist whites who thought black people were white people and we're subhuman. He was so great. We need more black men like that that'll overlook my racist, bigoted ass uncles and cousins and husbands and wives and dads and mamas. Keep it a buck. And just get onto the business of saying, hey, this is where we can come together. Yeah, you can hate my black skin. You can want to burn it off. You can want to lynch me. But as long as we both agree that we all want Medicare, what really is the problem?
Your plan to organize along class lines, or are you going to keep talking about white supremacy and all those identity politics, which are there?
Man, Jimmy, do you not understand that Dr. Cornel, one of the strengths that Dr. Cornel West's campaign will have, if it will have any success, will be in part due to his ability to attract black people. Do you not realize that black people want Dr. Cornel West to talk about black issues? I know you don't want him to. Dr. West has been talking about black issues for 40 years. Now that he's running for office, you want him to not talk about black issues. That don't even make sense. If you don't want Dr. Cornel West to talk about black issues, go do what you were already planning to do, which is support Trump. We already know that's what you plan to do anyway. That's what you plan to do. Well, you don't plan to oppose him. You're not going to oppose him, are you? You'll probably support RFK Jr., because that's what you're telegraphing. And you're going to refuse to oppose Donald.
I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump. Personally, just so you guys know, I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump. I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden, and I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump. Those are facts, and you can bank on that. We're down to 25,072, guys. We have broken past 25,100 and we've gone to 25,072 is now the 24-hour low of Bitcoin, and you're seeing it happen live on my show. We're going to take a little break here, just a second, just to pull this up so you guys can see this market drop. I do bring this to my audience live. We are making money with this market. Some of us are. And, you know, we are interested in what's going on and market moves and shit like that. When to purchase, when to, you know, if you need some money back in the bank, or you need to make a purchase, or when to sell so that you can do something like that if you are using crypto as a store of value, which many of us are doing. So what we're looking at right now, this giant drop, and look at Harmony's kind of hanging in there at 900. It got down to 892, but it's kind of hanging in there. And look, Ethereum and Bitcoin, just giant freaking drops right here. So if you wanted to buy some Bitcoin, we might be looking at a low, or it could go lower. I would have to really look at this. I mean, there's giant head and shoulders, two giant head and shoulders pattern, but then there was a reverse head and shoulders, and then another reverse head and shoulders that didn't finish. So this head and shoulders right here did not finish, and boom, it dropped off of this head and shoulders right here. Oh, you guys don't see my mouse, so you don't see my mouse, but this is the head. This is the other head. These are the double head and shoulders that caused this. How low could it go? What's the bottom? We can look at previous points of resistance. It's gotten all the way down now to 25,007, everybody. Could it go to 24,999? Yeah, it could totally do that right now. It just depends on the volatility, man. It depends on what day is today. It's Monday. That's a good day. It's a good trading day. There's probably going to be a big buy-in right now, man, at 25. I'm going to get a little Bitcoin. I'm going to buy a little Bitcoin right now.
Hey, Nick.
If you guys want to buy a little Bitcoin, I'm going to try to buy the bottom here. I'm thinking 25. How much lower can it go, right? So I always start off with a low purchase. I'm just going to get a tiny bit.
Tropical thing. Got my share this morning.
What did you buy at? What'd you get at, buddy? Okay, let's see. I bought some, so now usually when I buy some, it drops
Love
more.
the show.
So we'll see if it drops more now. All right, back to Tim.
Trump. Because it's good for the money. And you people that don't realize that by now, I don't know what you're smoking. Whatever it is,
cannabis.
To your boy.
Really good, really high
Virtually,
quality cannabis.
Hit a brother up.
Not from the ground up, from the top down, to make sure we stay divided.
Yo, and this thing about top up and down, folks.
Tropical thing.
Led with LGBTQ, trans rights, and white supremacy, or do you think he organized along class lines? That's what we have to do. You have to organize, meet people where they are. So what is your plan to organize along class lines, or are you going to keep talking about white supremacy and all those identity politics, which are there, not from the ground up, from the top down?
Who said that? Jimmy Dore stole that from
Tropical
somebody.
thing.
Who said that? Was
Only
it Mike Taibbi?
$300 worth.
Probably was Mike Taibbi. Was it Halper? Halper? Or Mike Taibbi? One of those? Said that? I'm sure he get it from somebody. Jimmy's not that original. Who did he get that from? Adolph Reed, maybe? Another one that's like, we don't need to talk about race. We need to talk about being like me and ignoring racism. Remember that time Morgan Freeman was on Don Lemon's show on CNN, and he was like, the way that we got to deal with racism is don't talk about it. I'm going to treat you like a man. I'm a man. You can call me an N-word, but don't say it out loud. You can deny me work, but let's not talk about that. You can continue to charge me more for my insurance, more for my value my home less, deny me rights, pull us over, incarcerate us at higher rates, Give us more time for the same crime when we have the same record. But just don't say it out loud. That way we can pretend that we're okay. I am Morgan Freeman, and I approve this message. You guys will live and die on that mountain, won't you? I don't know about you guys, but I know the shooting that took place. And I put it out in the tweet, and I saw some other people kind of saying it. It was great for you to pick that up. As for top down, I don't know. I could have swore the shooter in Buffalo was from the bottom up. You know, the one that shot the blacks? Yeah, this whole idea that identity politics, anything that's black related, anything about the suffering of blacks, anything about how we're 13% of the population only owns 2% of the wealth. You can't tell me that's not tied with race and class. I just told you. Black Americans own only 2% of the wealth. That 97% of venture capitalist loans go to white guys like Jimmy Dore. And Jimmy Dore's sons or daughters, if you have. And the rest, everybody else.
Hey,
black men,
Arafat.
black women, Latinos, all
What's
of us
up,
get
buddy?
the other 2 point whatever percent. The black men only make up 2% of male doctors. The black women only make up 2% of female lawyers. But you say, that's just race, Tim. It's nothing. I mean, it's just class, Tim. It's not race. It's both, man. It is definitely, fundamentally both. And this guy, Jimmy Dore, doesn't want it to be addressed because he thinks it's savvy. He ain't up to Kyle Kalinske. Why does Jimmy got a problem with Kyle? He is Kyle. I want to know why, Jimmy, you have a problem with Kyle. You got some personal beef with the guy. You got something up your ass about Kyle, but you are Kyle. You are David Packman. Oh, that's going too far. At the end of the day he don't support Biden, but he damn sure ain't riding for black folks. And that's what I care about. They're both anti-black.
Wow,
We support
Pac-Man?
black people until it becomes inconvenient.
Damn.
To make sure we stay divided, what is your plan to organize along class lines?
Well, I appreciate again the clarity and candor of what you have to say. We have profound disagreements, brother.
Wow.
When I organize around white supremacy, I'm not making some utilitarian calculation.
Look.
I'm speaking as a black man who comes out of
So understand what Cornel West just said right there. Profound disagreement. I mean, it's the nicest way to say, fuck you, you're wrong, and I'm right. But he says it in such a nice way. You know, 31-20. Listen to the way Cornel West responds.
Oh, they're both anti-black.
He's a beautiful man. He really
we support
is.
black people
He's a
until
beautiful human
it
being.
becomes inconvenient.
To make sure we stay divided, what is your plan to organize along class lines?
Well, I appreciate again the clarity and candor of what you have to say. We have profound disagreements, brother. When I organize around white supremacy, I'm not making some utilitarian calculation. I'm speaking as a black man who comes out of a tradition that's been terrorized and traumatized by white elite. And that does not in any way mean it takes me away from class issues. Class issues are crucial. Class issues are fundamental. But it doesn't mean that I'm putting up with white supremacy. One of the problems is that you get too many folk who want to talk class, and can't say a mumbling word about white supremacy, police brutality, can't say a mumbling word hardly. Or when they do say it, you call it identity politics as if it's not connected to class. I'm hitting these head on. I'm standing with the workers when it comes to strikes. I'm standing with the workers when it comes to greedy bosses. I'm standing with the workers when it comes to obsession with profits and the needs not in any way being satisfied. But I'll never for a minute be silent or not raising my voice in terms of vicious treatment of black people, indigenous people, gay brothers, lesbians, sisters, or trans. It's not an either or. And that's
not an either or.
Profound disappointment.
You know,
so I see for
you
example,
know, he can say it all.
And I notice you hardly say a mumbling word about white supremacy because it's some kind of identity politics and I'm against it, but I don't want to talk about it. I only want to talk about what people hold.
Oh, dude, he's just fucking hammered Jimmy Dore right there. You don't ever want to talk about white supremacy. Bam. It's like you don't ever want to cover that. You know, you cover the Nazis marching in Altamont Springs, Florida, dude. In my hometown, you motherfucker.
Hold in common. Well, black people are not going to hold it in common if you don't say a word about white supremacy, but maybe some of your white friends will. So who are you talking about?
Let that sink in. Let's let that sink in, people. Let that sink in. Black people are not going to hold that in common.
No law regarding cannabis. Cheers, everybody. It must be time to smoke. I don't know.
If you don't talk about mass incarceration, if you don't talk about issues that impact black Americans, lack of investment, if you don't talk about
close enough. Cheers.
Pipeline, if you don't talk about these things that impact black people exponentially more than white Americans and don't frame it as such, then black people are going to be like, man, you're not speaking for us. Do you not understand that? Do you not get that? Dr. Weston said that very clearly. He said, I stand with workers. I stand with environmental justice. I stand with this. When these issues arise, I stand with them. And I stand with my brothers too.
talking about in common? Are you talking about just the majority or what, my dear brother? I will never, ever in a million years not talk about vicious legacies of white supremacy, male supremacy, homophobia, transphobia, and others. But class will always be very much at the center.
But you can't win that way, Dr. West. Have ethics. You can't win. You cannot win standing up for these people that people like Jimmy can't stand, and that Jimmy Dore has no time for. That the Jimmy Dore core base and his people and himself have no use for, frankly. That are just impediments to the broader building coalition of working people. And I wish people would just be honest and just say that's what he means. That's what's up. That's what Jimmy means. Stop going out to...
What brings you and I together is what? Our fundamental solidarity with working classes, not just here, but around the world. But oftentimes when I hear about your show, you say, well, you know, these identity politics issues get in the way. No, it's not getting in the way.
Yeah, identity politics. Talking about black people issues gets in the way of Jimmy Dore. He said 100%. For some reason, we'll have black people that support that. Black people that support this type of thinking that their issues are just in the way. When Jimmy Dore going on Bill Maher, he sounds just like Bill Maher. Jimmy Dore is Bill Maher. That's it. That's it. He's Bill Maher, but he likes Trump, so that's the difference.
You're not getting in
100%. They're used by so the Democrats. That's all they have to run on. And when you say that stuff, you just sound like a Democrat because that's all they have. So if
the talk about the dignity of black people in the face of vicious white supremacy makes me sound like a Democrat, you got the wrong earplug.
Oh.
And when he talks about those things, he's talking about Biden. Biden's in power. When he's talking about white supremacy, he's talking about these things that are impacting black Americans, LGBTQ, and all these others. He's talking about Biden. Donald Trump is not in power. They are attributing this. This is why I'm so frustrated watching this. When Dr. Cornel West makes a critical critique or a harsh critique of the power structure, he's talking about Biden. We're talking about how black people are being treated. You think he's talking about Trump? Trump ain't in power. He's out managing his golf course or something. I don't know what he's doing. Managing his social media app. He's talking about Biden.
Bonsai House.
But you're so disingenuous. You want to say that he is supporting.
Hey, Billy.
Dr. West is somehow supporting Biden. He sounds like Biden. He's supporting Biden. Come on, man. These are not fair arguments, and they're not based on reality. They're based on Jimmy Dore's personal strategy to do what he did, which is undercut and smear Dr. West. I feel that was his agenda. Jimmy Dore's agenda here, to me, is very clear: to smear Dr. West.
You're not listening clearly, because if you can't hear the critique of Wall Street, if you can't hear the critique of militarism, if you can't hear the critique of his foreign policy in Ukraine, and all you can hear when they talk about white supremacy and identity politics, then something's wrong with your earplug.
Billy, remember that thing you texted me about in Twitter? You said I should get out in front of? They deleted both channels on YouTube and on Twitter.
Tim Black is as racist as any Nazi on Earth, too.
Both channels deleted, all the content deleted, too. Tim Black is as racist as any Nazi on Earth, too.
Yes.
Yeah, Tim Black's racist. I agree. He's
He's
got his own form of racism.
It's disappointing.
It is what it is. You are profoundly disappointed in that sense. But if I still love you, brother.
I still love you too. I know you. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm talking about.
You do disagree. You disagree with him talking about it. You disagree. That's your whole point. You disagree with Dr. West discussing black issues. He came on my channel to discuss black issues. To you, that was a mistake. To me, that was very much needed. He's going to need black support. He's going to need to discuss black issues. And when he goes on other networks or other channels and he has that same conversation and he's not afraid to discuss black issues as well, that's good. That's what we want. We want you to talk black no matter where you go.
Having a campaign. I'm not.
But the campaign is not about utilitarian calculation either. I don't look at black people like a utilitarian calculation. I can't say nothing because these people over here somehow are alienated. I'm telling the truth. I'm fighting for justice. And if people feel as if it's not...
Because Jimmy knows him and his people don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear about black people, what they're going through. This is the last thing they want to hear. It's divisive to them because it's not about them. Everything you do has to be centered around white people, like Jimmy, or it's pointless. It doesn't matter. You can feel in your heart, hey, man, it's wrong to do that to black people. It's wrong that black people are 40% of the prison population, though we're only 13%. Oh, it's wrong that black people are over-incarcerated. It's wrong that black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by cops, even if we're unarmed. It's wrong. But when he talk about it, no, he won't talk about it. Why won't he talk about it? Why won't he talk about it? So Jimmy thinks it's okay to know it and to think it and believe it, but don't say it. And that's the way that Jimmy operates his channel. And that's the way he wants his friends to operate. And some of you have been doing that. You need to stop doing that and follow your heart, man. We all got to go on the ground. Dr. West said we all got to go on the ground. It's about what we do before the worms get you. That ain't how Jimmy sounds to me. Jimmy sounds like I need to do whatever makes most sense, whatever's the best, most calculated move. It's been calculated all the way up to this point. No one has respect for calculated politicians who have a public face and a private face. Ain't that what Hillary Clinton had? Ain't that what Hillary Clinton had? A public persona and a personal persona? We still don't know what she said when she went in that room with those bankers. So you want to demonize Dr. West and smear him as being a Bidenite because he talks about black issues and trans or gay issues or whatever? Really?
About white supremacists alienated, then they're gonna be alienated. I'm talking about my mama. I'm talking about my daddy. This ain't no abstract dialogue about politics.
But see, this is the problem. This is what fundamentally, and I hope people stuck around for this. One of the fundamentally different issues, one of the fundamental differences that we have is that black Americans,
Thunder Blunder's still out there,
who are conscious, because not all of us are conscious, and all of us have different times when we all become awake, or that we are aware of the issues that are around us in this environment. We all different. We're all on different schedules. Okay. One of the differences is white people do not feel the same connectedness to black people issues that a black woman or a black man that's conscious is going to feel. And that would take work. That would take work. And Jimmy hasn't done that work, and he hasn't been pressured to do that work. And if he has done that work, he sure as hell hiding it. Because he looks on his face, his condescending smirk on his face shows me a man that could care less. He could care less what Dr. West is saying. He's not learning a damn thing. He don't care that black, as a black man, it causes a visceral reaction for me to downplay the suffering of other black people, man, in this country, given our history. Jimmy Dore doesn't have that problem. He doesn't feel this hollowness, this angst, this overwhelming urge to discuss certain issues. He doesn't feel it. He's not connected to it in any way whatsoever. And that's always going to be a problem on the left. So, and just like progressives are acting just like liberals.
People don't
because
understand black
they got fundraising,
issues.
all for black pain and struggle. And when black people start talking, liberals are entertaining, but when it's time to enact policy and make changes, they'll fundraise off of it, though. They'll run a race off of it, though. They'll use it to bludgeon their competition or their opponent with it. But when it comes to actually doing something about it, not so much. But Dr. West is not them. If you don't see the difference between Dr. West and Joe Biden, you really got to be told there's a difference between Dr. West and Joe Biden. Come on, man. You really don't think there's a difference between Dr. West and Hakeem Jeffries? Really, man? Is that really what we're saying here?
It's in the Machiavellian sense. Not
So,
at all.
so
my
what
brother.
Bernie
So
caught.
we march together for class politics. We march together because that's real. But if you think that talking about white supremacy is just identity politics, we got deep disagreement. That's all.
So,
I'm sorry to go on.
No,
You're very kind to let me go
no,
on.
go right ahead. No, go right ahead. I don't. And honest, everything I'm saying here, coming from my heart, I want your campaign to succeed, and I want you to have the strongest campaign possible. But Bernie caught on because he would always, if he was given a cultural question or an identity politics question, he would always bring it back to class and economics. And it doesn't. Well, here I was talking to one of Bernie's
And that's how Bernie lost South Carolina. Ding, 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 dong. The witch is dead. Damn it, man. Fuck who you were talking to. The reason why Bernie, I was there. I didn't see you there, Jimmy. I was in South Carolina. On that fateful night. The reason why Bernie lost South Carolina, remember, Iowa, New Hampshire, on a roll. People are writing Joe Biden's obituary. The reason why Bernie lost is because he listened to that dumbass, whoever you talking about. You sound just like you, Jimmy. That's why he lost. Because he took that dumb advice, and black people said, F Bernie. What you don't understand, man, that's what sank his candidacy. Bernie made a calculation that he was willing not to give black support to the extent he could have had it, because then everybody's going to look past the fact you don't want to talk about black people shit. And everybody's going to look past the fact that you don't support reparations. Cornel West supports reparations. I put out a clip of us talking about it. You can find the clips. You can find him talking about it on my show and on other shows.
For 8 hours
And he went to the
yesterday,
ADOS
and it
like
was pure bone
events
with a layer of fat on the outside.
and spoke on reparations.
$15 in 8
Stop
hours
saying
for
it.
nothing. 5 pounds.
The reason why Bernie Sanders lost,
Walmart.
the reason why you have Biden,
Wow.
is in part because I know Obama was going to try everything. But the reason
guess
why Bernie
that's
lost
why it
South
was
Carolina,
only
I'm trying to tell you,
15
Johnson,
bucks.
it was because of his lackluster performance in speaking up about black issues. Come on, man. Tell me I'm wrong, folks. See, maybe I should be a political consultant, and I should bring on Marianne Williamson and tell her what she doesn't know.
Emote
Get her off here and tell her I want to coach you up.
5395878
Make you understand what you're doing wrong here.
campaign managers, and this is what he said. Yes, I personally agree white supremacy is one of the causes, but if I lose 2 potential allies because they roll their eyes and stop listening before I get to their concerns, I've already lost.
Who's this, Jeff Weaver? Who are you talking to?
The civil rights advancements, women's rights, the environment, that for a black radical activist, that upon you that there's better ways to run a presidential campaign, and so that for a black
In the South.
so I'm just giving that to you.
No, I understand. But you can see again how I disagree. Keep in mind, bro. Civil rights movement was not because of white folk doing X or Y, because it was a social movement led by black people in the South that was multiracial but led primarily by.
If it was left up to Jimmy Dore, black people would not have civil rights right now. People like Jimmy Dore, the reason why it took so damn long for it to happen. People listen to people like Jimmy Dore and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Hey, don't discuss it. Hey, let's not go here. Hey,
to turn it into a demi-glaze.
We don't do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to talk. We want some bigots to vote for us. So we can't talk about black stuff. Put the blacks in the back. Put them in the kitchen. There never would have been a civil rights movement. Boy, condescending jerk this Jimmy Dore is, man. Who's this guy, man?
Black folk, and neither party would have done anything without that social movement.
100% right.
So then, how did the social movement take place, Jimmy? Like, not talking about black people suffering. Like, Morgan Freeman needs to come back. Oh, Jimmy Dore is a good point. He's very much spot. Just don't talk about race. I don't talk about race. I've found it necessary to get an Oscar by not talking about race. It's been very fruitful in my life.
You're 100% right. No doubt about it. And I think
that's my tradition. That's my tradition. How can you talk about?
No, I love to hear you talk about all that stuff, and that's good for a rap.
All that stuff. Yeah, talk about your black stuff. Do it around your black friends. You're running for office here, man. You're in the big leagues, man. Can't be worried about that black shit. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come grow up. Grow up, man. You're out here for you. Get this big opportunity in front of you. Come on, man. You're jack off comedian. I'm trying to take this big opportunity and you're blowing it. Worry about black people. Why are you worried about black people? You need to worry about white people. White people where it's at, man. Play the big arenas. Like me, when I go out and I go my stage shows, I don't talk about black people at all. I remember when I brought Tim Black on my show, and Tim Black did a couple spots with us. He was the only person talking about black people shit. I brought a black to talk about black stuff because I don't focus on that on my stage show, and I don't do this and keep saying that,
Radical black activist who's representing his community, but I'm just trying to impress upon you.
You say it's a radical black activist to talk about black people issues. There it is in a nutshell. That's the reason why I burn laws. You got to be a black radical activist to talk about black issues, things that impact the black community. Though, that's why I say black Americans, we got to get the fuck away from the Democratic Party. Go green, guys, go green. I don't know what Jimmy is, he's something, but we got to get away from these people, man. They have no respect for us. They don't value us. They don't care about what we care about at all. There is no further down that black people can go in this country. It will never be an emergency. It will never be worthy of being prioritized over white people shit. A black man could literally be on fire right here, and the white guy would be like, "Oh my God, there's a puppy over there who's limping. Someone go help that puppy."
House.
Could you please stop screaming, burning black man?
West fashion himself exactly
it looks like he's been
Frederick
singing
Douglass. Exactly.
He's got a
distorted
sense.
You can't sweat well. Try to get air. Die quietly, black people.
A little hyperbolic, Tim.
That's how you sound, progressives. I want you to understand. You see it one way. I want you to understand how black people see it. I know I'm being a jackass because I'm keeping it a buck and I don't care about your feelings. But I'm also being helpful, hopefully. I want you to know this is what we hear. I'm not talking about, what was that guy who used to come on Jimmy's show, the football player? I'm not talking about guys like that. There are some real, like Marshawn Lynch. I'm saying shit Marshawn Lynch would say. Not that guy that came on the show that Brianna had on no. Remember that guy, the guy with the little locks that played football and came on Jimmy's thing? Not him. Justin, I think his name was. No, Marshawn Lynch, man. I'm talking about some real black motherfuckers. Real black men. Strong black men. They don't talk like that. They ain't neutered. So there's a class of black men who are bold, aggressive, that stand up, that fight, and are willing to die for what they believe. I don't sense none of that with the people that rock with this type of nonsense. There's some of us who lay it on the line. So I'm trying to be helpful, and I'm trying to tell you how we hear it when you say this type of shit. I told Jimmy Dore, I texted him when we first had a falling out, and I said, bro, with the shit I'm telling you, and I knew they were going to go after, I knew Jimmy was going to do what he did, because he had already communicated to me how lucrative it was. In a way that he was carrying shit, okay? But this move towards the right has been a premeditated move, a strategic move by Jimmy Dore and the others who have done this. But what I'm telling you is, this type of nonsense, this type of rhetoric coming out of Jimmy Dore, the average black voter ain't going for that shit. The average black American ain't hearing it. Look around you. I don't know who's in my audience right now, but the black people that are conscious and aware.
Oh, now he's separating
black 5150
people
squad.
Into real and fake. Now how to split the community.
Those type of black people. I'm not talking about Hotep Jesus, who will kiss ass for Sam Adams or whatever his name was. I'm not talking about that type of dude. I'm talking about black people who are neither Democrat or Republican and aren't trying to get in either one of those parties, who are calling it out as we see it, who recognize who our enemies are and are not trying to make friends with them. When you start talking like Jimmy, I'm telling you what you sound like to us. And I'm positive Jimmy doesn't think he sounds this way, or he wouldn't sound that way. He wouldn't say those words if he knew how it's being received by the people that are listening. My black ears hear something different than you do. Okay?
That there's better ways to run a presidential campaign, and so that for a black radical activist, that's great, that's honey. But for someone who's trying to appeal to a wide swath of people,
to a bunch of bigoted white folks like the ones that follow me, because I'm Jimmy Dore, they don't want to hear this shit. Why can't you just say that? Because that's the truth, man. Can we keep it a buck? Jimmy, you have the wrong audience. If you have an audience that wants to support Dr. Cornel West, don't call yourself progressive, man. Please. Just stop it. Just say who you are. You have worked tirelessly for a couple of years, Jimmy, to attract a certain type of demographic. Stop acting like your audience are just progressive type voting people. They're not. How many never Trumpers do you have in your audience?
Not a lot.
Affected Republicans, independents, people. That's a death for that campaign. That's my opinion. That's just...
We'll have to see, but keep in mind, though, brother, that one, I've never ever said that all of the followers of Brother Trump are fascists. I said he's a neo-fascist Pied Piper. His followers, 1 out of 8 went with Bernie, 1 out of 12 went with Barack Obama. He's got a heterogeneous, diverse group.
Jesus.
And I can speak my language of truth and justice that connects with capitalism, imperialism, white supremacy, male supremacy, transphobia, whatever it is. And there's going to be some people who listen, and there's going to be some people who don't. But this is not just a question of political calculation and Machiavellian reflection, brother.
See, and that's the thing. That's the difference. It's the fundamental difference is that Jimmy Dore has no core. He has no. Okay, this is it, guys. Dr. West is hit it. Dr. West is not going to modulate himself. He's not going to temper his speech, his advocacy, his focus to appease people who are not interested in black liberation. Dr. West he's being very upfront. See, that's not Jimmy's mode of operation. Jimmy definitely appeased those people. Go back and look at the catalog of content that he's put out. Yeah, I know he put on Craig Pasta or whatever, and now Craig Pasta's talking about, let's talk about reparations and why we can't do it. Because Jimmy knew what he was about to do. Jimmy knew he was about to go do what he's about to do, which is smear Dr. West. He's not stupid. Jimmy's not stupid. So what I'm saying is, Jimmy definitely, obviously, come on, guys, he spent 10 years on TYT, putting up with all these shenanigans, and then when he left, he said, these guys are horrible. They're liberal, like they're MSNBC. But for 10 years, they were just fine. For 10 years, while he got 10 years of checks, they were just fine. He was working there, taking the money. But then, all of a sudden, when he left, hey, that's the worst place in the world. These people are liberals, and they're just ass-kissing MSNBC. They basically are CNN. They people weren't that way 10 years ago. They weren't that way 9 years ago. They weren't that way 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. In fact, most of y'all wouldn't even know who Jimmy Dore was if he didn't have that if he wasn't on TYT. Because they'll act like you was looking at him as a comedian like that, like you were checking for him as a comedian before that. I'd never heard of this guy. I've done comedy spots in places that people didn't even know who he was. So, part of the problem is Dr. West is honest, ethical, and he's not going to go in front of one audience and only give them a heavy dose of, hey, I really feel bad about your money issues. Hey, listen here, Sam. And not talk about real shit that affects black people as well. But that's what Jimmy wants them to do. And that's a cherry-picking misrepresenter of your core message. Cornel West believes everybody not for you. That's how I had to understand that. It's hard. Realize and say, oh, you know what? I'm not going to get everybody. Everybody can't come. Everybody not for you. You don't have to win over everyone to win. You should not alter your messaging, alter your content. Content creators, don't listen to Jimmy Dore. Do not alter what you stand for in order to attract a certain audience.
Right.
Unless that's what you really, truly believe. Because you're going to have to stay consistent with that. Look what it's done to Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore he wasn't always this way. He wasn't always like this. No nuance at all.
This is about the quest for truth and justice. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. I'm not listening to consultants who tell me to use this particular kind of language with this group and this kind of language with that group. That is the essence of managerial bourgeois politics. I reject.
So I heard you say one time that someone asked.
I'm sorry, guys. He's about to go. If he's about to do the thing where he reads, he puts Dr. West on mute for 10 minutes. And I remember when I had Dr. Sandy Dirty on my show talking about reparations. Like the first or second time, I don't remember what it was. But I remember one time I forgot to. I like Dr. Dirty. Can I just call you Dirty? People got mad because I called Dr. Dirty Sandy. I think I called him Sandy. Yeah, I called him Sandy. Dr. Sandy Dirty. I called him Sandy because I was nervous, man. It was a lot to keep in my head, and it kept every time I talked, I wanted to say his whole name. I want to say Sandy Dirty or Mr. Dirty. Or like it gets, and people got offended that I called Dr. Dirty by his first name, though he gave me permission to. But y'all not offended at all of the way Jimmy treated Dr. Cornel West. He's about to put Dr. Cornel West on hold while he reads about 7 paragraphs. You don't have a reverence for Dr. West.
I haven't seen this.
Any type of respect level for him. And I have a fundamental problem with it. In fact, I've never done anybody that way. I've interviewed people, not just Dr. West. I've interviewed many people have been on my show, and I've never treated a guest the way that Jimmy treated Dr. West. I wonder why that's so good for you guys.
I got to tell you guys.
I wonder why that's okay.
The same question.
I am an angry white man, and Tim Black, as racist as he appears, he reached out to me and gave me some really good advice a long time ago and helped me, man. It's what you see on here.
Bonsai House. What's on fire for 10 minutes now?
He plays an angry black man on the internet. I play an angry white man on the internet, you know. But I'm telling you, off camera, he's awesome.
Why don't you call Joe Biden a fascist, but you call Donald Trump a fascist?
He's back to talk about this shit again?
So one time you said that it was because Donald Trump criminalizes and demonizes his political opponents. And that's what fascists do. Well, of course, now they've been trying to criminalize and put in jail Donald Trump, Joe Biden's #1 political opponent, just like they did in Brazil and Pakistan. And so the global elite is doing this to anybody, and they'll do it to you if you actually become a threat. They will criminalize you. They've already started to call you right-wing and white supremacist yourself, and that's the game. They'll call you a sexist. They're going to call you, your followers are going to be sexist, violent, racist, and white.
They're also going to let people like you, Jimmy, come out here and try to smear him and call him Joe Biden.
That's a good one, Tim. That deserved applause.
Yeah, let's not leave that part out. That's also disrespectful.
All that you've already been called a right winger by the establishment. So that's the game that they play. And what they're doing right now is trying to throw in prison anybody who the donor class doesn't want to run and is going to win. They'll throw in prison. They'll do it to Bernie. They Russiagated Bernie. They said all his followers were sexist and racist and violent. They said the same thing they say about Trump. And they would have criminalized Bernie and put him in jail if he had a spine and he would have stood up to the establishment instead of folding into it. So it's important, I think, that people call out what's happening right now. I don't like Trump one bit. I oppose almost every.
Then why don't you have more content telling people that? Why isn't that a focal point of your content, of what you do? Why hasn't it a focal point today? Everything that you say out your mouth, you say, oh, I don't like Trump, Trump's bad. But then you go on to talk all innocently about Biden. You know, I have a no Joe shirt. I was going to wait for the segment, but people see me wear it. I also have a Dump Trump button head shirt, because both of them suck.
Everything he says, almost everything he says, but he called for ending NATO, so I join him with that, and I'll join with anybody to do good and nobody to do wrong. Okay.
Here, I'm with you. I'm with you on that too.
And so what's happening right now is what they usually do in third world countries, but they're doing it right here. The donor class doesn't want Donald Trump to become president, and he will if he's allowed to run. And so they did this. They're now 4 different indictments, each one more ridiculous than the last. And here, RICO, the Georgia anti-racketeering law, is being used to charge Donald Trump. And now the reason I bring this up is because they're the same people that did that to Donald Trump are using the RICO charges to go after activists from Stop Cop City. So let me just give you the story and then you can comment. The RICO charge documents is described has been to try and skip.
Hey, why come Jimmy couldn't just talk about this shit? Since he didn't read the article. Why come he just couldn't talk about it? This shit right here. I don't understand this. This is, why bring up something that you haven't read? Why are you reading this to him? Just summarize it. Come on, man.
Jimmy's playing gotcha.
That's exactly what they'll do to me. They'll do to anybody who is a threat to the establishment. And so,
let me get a word in.
So I'm going to let you. So I just want you to.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Take it where you will.
I'm very glad that you're zeroing in on the struggle to shut down Cop City. I'm in deep solidarity with them. We're working together in the coming weeks, virtually and so forth. But there's a logical fallacy, a rational gap in your attempt to compare freedom fighters against a vicious system in the name of everyday folk in ghettos, in hoods, and working class communities against the police versus Trump. Trump, I'm not in solidarity with Trump. I want to have a fair trial. I'm not in solidarity with Trump simply because they use the same law against courageous, visionary freedom fighters against police brutality and police murder.
24,950 and about.
Like Trump doesn't put Trump
so it did go down lower.
At all. It doesn't put him on spectrum at all. That's the fundamental difference between you and I in this case. But I'm glad you're talking about shutting down Cop
everything
City,
else doing.
because we know it's planned to be in a number of other cities as well.
Is anybody that doesn't understand what Dr. West is saying here?
I wonder how much lower it's going to go.
The same thing doesn't mean they both committed the same act yeah. They use a RICO charge against them both because they'll use their law against their adversaries. True, but it doesn't mean Donald Trump is a freedom fighter. It doesn't mean Donald Trump is standing up and fighting a good fight for us. Donald Trump is a self-serving egomaniac and a neo-fascist, right? So the freedom fighters at Cop City are not. They're using the tools at their disposal to punish them both, to bludgeon them both. But just because they're both getting hit with the same charges does not equate them as being anywhere similar. One standing up for truth and justice, the other guy just want to try to get an election. The other guy probably could be in jail for a host of, as Dr. West pointed out, probably should be in jail for a host of other things he's done, or whatever, but we'll see what happens in court. And by the way, I do believe it's politically motivated. I believe it's politically motivated. And I've also stated, let's keep going.
Well, when I'm in Mississippi, it was a goon squad. The goon squad is shot through cities across the country. We saw it in Memphis, it's in Atlanta, it's in Chicago. But the idea of you recognizing that the same weaponization against these courageous freedom fighters is somehow on a spectrum with Trump, I radically reject that. I want a fair trial, but I think he's probably done a number of things that warrants a serious fair trial with him going to jail. But we shall see.
So you're for prosecuting.
See, now that's how disingenuous that is. That's disingenuous. Oh, so you want Trump to go to jail? You should get a fair trial. But he's not fighting. Trump has never been fighting for me. Oh, you will see. Jimmy drank the Kool-Aid. Jimmy thinks Trump is doing something for us. He thinks that Trump's standing up for us. Trump did this shit for his ego because Obama talked shit. I think that's the real reason why Trump ran for office. Because remember when that Washington, the White House Correspondents' Dinner where Obama put Trump on the hot seat and made a bunch of jokes about him? Made a bunch of jokes about that? I think that's when Trump said, you know what, I'm going to run for office. But he didn't run to help me. Trump didn't run to help me or save black folks and save my kids. I'm not saying that Biden did. I'm not saying that Biden did either. So why should anybody care about what happens to Donald Trump? We're all aware that, yes, I believe politics is playing a role in this. But listen to Jimmy Dore start false equivalencing, taking that simple statement of, hey, Trump ain't a freedom fighter, man, and making it like, oh, you wanted to go to jail. And if Cornel West wanted him to go to jail, what he just said, I wanted to go to jail.
I think he's probably done a number of things that warrant a serious fair trial with him going to jail, but we shall see.
So you're for prosecuting the last president after he loses an election. You think that's a good way to run a democracy? Because again, you don't see the connection that this is the donor class criminalizing anybody who they don't like, and they'll do it to you, and they'll do it to Bernie, and they'll do it to anybody.
You know, all Jimmy Dore's ever spoken about was accusing and charging all of the ex-presidents with war crimes, and now all of a sudden he's protecting Trump. This is hilarious, and what Tim Black is saying about, you know, Jimmy Dore eventually just coming out for Donald Trump, it's very obvious through this kind of rhetoric that he pushes.
Everybody else. And so you don't have to like Donald Trump. I don't at all. But I see what the game is being played here. And you don't see that game being played. You don't see this game, really.
I see the game, the same law against the Proud Boys. I wanted a fair trial. I wanted to make sure they're treated, but at the same time,
they're doing
the
to the
they're being weaponized. But see, but I think your support of Trump is deeper than you acknowledge. I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump. How do you compare Trump with freedom fighters against the police?
I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing it. I'm saying that. I'm saying no. I'm not saying. I'm not.
Of course, they're going to use it against anybody who.
It's the government. Okay. That's amazing that you don't see this. It is unbelievable that you don't see this. This is such a loser for you.
We had this opportunity to show the deep differences, very deep differences, though. But you do what you got to do, and I'm doing what I got to do, and I learn from you. And I hope you can learn a little bit from me, but we shall see.
The biggest story of my lifetime, if it wasn't Russiagate, which led directly to the Ukraine war, and I said it was going to.
So they edited this video because I saw the original. Dr. West was ready to leave. He tried to get off the show, and Jimmy's like, I thought I had you for another 10 minutes. I thought I had you for another 10 minutes. And graciously, Dr. West stays.
And they cut that out. Thank you, Tim.
I don't know why he chose to stay. Guess he wanted to keep his word.
Wow.
2017 when they did this, and I told everybody at the Young Turks they're going to use this to start a war. They're going to use this, and they did. And so here we are. And so what I want to the second biggest story is probably the COVID lockdown, if not the biggest. And so many people who were supposed to be out in front on this dropped the ball. People like Noam Chomsky.
It's like Jimmy Dore serving up all his greatest hits. All his greatest hits.
Lockdown.
I was right about Russiagate. I was right about this thing.
Right.
Here's this thing. There's a whole litany of everything Jimmy's been shoving in people's faces for the last couple of years.
Right.
Hey, I was right. I know everything. Ah!
Right. Sounds like me. Nostradamus.
So here's the Green Party, what they said. They said the Green Party, which you're running with.
Hey, Enoch, what's up, buddy?
Strongly supports the use of vaccines, vaccine mandates, and quarantines as part of a comprehensive public health effort to curb and eradicate the novel coronavirus pandemic that has swept the globe since early 2020. The whole thing was a hoax. And here's what the Black Caucus of the Green Party said. They said...
So this whole thing, folks, will be Jimmy Dore reading various statements from the Green Party, Black Caucus. We don't agree with the lockdowns. We don't agree with the mandates for the jab. And Dr. West will go, you know, that's this whole thing. I don't know what that has to do with Dr. West. I don't get it. But that's what this is. In the interest of time.
Threatened. Rights to normal societal participation are being decimated. It has taken a while, but more recently, many medical professionals, elected officials, and federal judges have come out. Individuals should be allowed to protect and heal themselves in a manner that best supports their medical spiritual beliefs. So, I understand why you aren't outraged by that. Do you share the sentiment of the Black Caucus of the Green Party, and have you talked to them?
Well, one thing, it's good to have a Green Party where you have a variety of different voices that are clashing, and the tensions are very real. I think there's no doubt that the pharmaceutical company has played a disproportionate role in shaping public policy. I think the kind of concerns that you and RFK Jr. and others have certainly are well-grounded in that sense. On the other hand, we know there's been a whole host of vaccines in regard to other kinds of illnesses that are much more effective. The question becomes making sure, and one of the things I want to do, I want to have a truth commission to find out exactly what was the level of corruption that took place during these years, be able to see not just the text, we know the books are out there, but to have a truth commission so that we can see what voices were marginalized, what voices were pushed aside, and make sure it never happens again. I resonate with the spirit of what my green black brothers and sisters are saying, but the Green Party itself does allow this kind of disagreement and so on. But I'll say this though, but I know I got to go, but I must say, see, this is where you and I do in some ways live in different worlds, because as crucial and as important as the issue of vaccines and the COVID situation was,
Now remember, he just said as crucial and as important as these vaccines, this pushback on the vaccines were, remember he said crucial and important. Because Jimmy's gonna act like he didn't hear him say that.
Say that's probably the most important issue in your lifetime or in the last 25 or 30 years in light of all the wars, in light of what Palestinians are going through, in light of what workers are going through. 63% of them living paycheck to paycheck in terms of all the vicious attacks of the police and the murders and so forth. And yet this vaccine issue is the most important thing. I say, okay, that's my dear brother Jimmy. He's got a right to raise his voice. I'm not going to in any way push it away, but I just live in a different world. As important as vaccines have been, if I had another chance, I'd be leaning much more with the Black caucus. But when I think of the weightiest issues, vaccines does not come immediately to mind. It just doesn't. That's the kind of world we live in, brother.
Okay.
I mean, I spend, you know,
well, here it is. Black business owners collapsed by 41%. Black business because of lockdowns. Do you care yet?
Well, no,
70,000 workers in one state were fired because of vaccine mandate. When are you going to care?
He just said
lockdowns.
As crucial, as important as it is, I don't think it's the most important thing.
Also,
Jimmy's taking that and
he said
complaining
lockdowns,
and
then he tried to
bastardize
make it
and
sound like
infuse
it's a
with his own talking
vaccine
points.
thing.
It says, you don't care about black people businesses. He just said it was important and crucial. And that wasn't even in light of businesses when he said it. But now you want to take a guy that's been standing up for black people all this time.
Jimmy
you don't
is
think he
just
feels it's
so
important
nasty.
that black people businesses were impacted by this.
He just thinks I'm right about this and I've got all the
receipts. They have to be
receipts.
trans. He's saying Cornel West doesn't care about black people, cares about trans people more than black people. And I know I have some black people that don't like when Dr. West talks about trans people and LGBTQ people in the same breath as he talks about black people. I think Dr. West is just trying to cover the bases, letting everybody know how he feels about that all groups are included when he talks about fighting for their rights and justice. But I understand that criticism. I understand what you're saying. That's a different conversation. And don't lump us all together. Let's look at our issues individually because those are different issues. I understand that, and I agree with that. And I think that's a fair criticism. But to say you only care about trans people, you don't care about black people, coming from Jimmy Dore, Mr. Don't talk about race, that's identity politics. Come on, guys, you're really going to accept that as being ethical? This is a fair interview. This is a fair exchange of thoughts. This is an above-board conversation. Wasn't strategic at all. He looked this stuff up. He had it prepared to say. He thought about it. He had somebody help him get the clips. And then he put it on the screen and read it. It's orchestrated. It was on purpose. It's not an accident. He intended to do this. He intended to say one of the most foremost scholars and philosophers on black issues in America, on societal issues in America, who's been standing up for black people for 40 years, Jimmy Dore, Mr. Don't talk about black issues. That's identity politics. Oh, here we go with the black shit again. That guy wants to tell Dr. West he don't care about black people. He cares about trans people. And that's when he sent Dr. West off. And I would say rightly so. That's a huge insult and a slap in the face. I said it's a huge insult and a slap in the face 2 times. You want a little bit more so you can hear one more time.
Okay. Well, here it is. Black business owners collapsed by 41%. Black business because of lockdowns. Do you care yet?
Well, no,
70,000 workers in one state were fired because of vaccine mandate. When are you going to care? Do they all have to be trans? When are you going to care about these workers? When are you going to care about this? When are you going to care about this?
They have to be trans for me to care.
You don't care. Why don't you care about this?
Why would you accuse me? Of course I care about it.
You're saying it's not important.
I didn't say it wasn't important. I said it was not the most fundamental issue in my lifetime the last 30 years.
Forced medical experiments? Forced medical experiments?
Where is the nuance?
Oh my God. So you missed the story.
Forced medical experiments.
So you missed the story and you're not interested. Well, Dr. West, I wish you the best. You know I love you. You know I support you. Okay, I wish you all the best. I love you. Thanks for coming on. I really do wish you all the best. And I just wish you had a clearer message to reach people, but you don't. It's muddled and it's a loser. So, Dr. Pete.
Hi, guys. Here we go. A lot of you have been too careful with criticizing Jimmy Dore. You don't want to get on the bad side of Jimmy Dore. I guess I'm free because I'm already on the bad side of Jimmy Dore.
Right.
So I just said Jimmy Dore, this was a horrible interview. This was a one-sided, biased, contentious, disingenuous, underhanded, dirty, cheap shot taking, smear, pathetic interview. It is what it is.
Well said.
Any leeway that you made, any actual points that you made that I felt were substantial or above board were ruined by your insincerity, bro.
By your lack of class.
By your insincerity and cheap shots and pettiness.
Right. Well said.
And the insults.
Yes.
You know, there's a way to disagree with somebody. Because you started off with an arrogant tenor. The whole mood of the interview was arrogant and condescending. And it continued that way to the end.
Unprofessional.
We put words in his mouth.
Like a baby.
And then just basically lied. Does anybody really feel that Dr. West doesn't value black people?
Acted like a fucking child.
I remember when someone asked that question about me. You know, when we talk about black issues the way that we do, it's from a place of sincerity. And to have somebody say, no, I don't think he does. He cares about this group or that group more so.
I think this oil is ready to be transferred into my container.
I think it's almost impossible to hold everything on equal plane at all times. And depending on when you hit play or stop on a video or on a podcast, you can walk away with a different idea of what's important to the person that's speaking. But I think on balance, if you look at the body of work of Dr. West, if you look at it fairly, and if you consume enough of it, you'll realize that Dr. West has been very consistent in his support for black folks. When Dr. West was calling out Obama, when only him and Tavis Smiley, according to my recollection, with only two public intellectuals that were calling out Obama, he was calling out Obama on behalf of black people. And then he also got into the Wall Street and tied to the military-industrial complex, the other things that Obama lied about, but it was on behalf of black people. And then I had this guy come around 30 years later, or whenever it is, 20 years later, 15 years later, from straight off the comedy circuit, straight off a panel of TYT, and tell Dr. West, hey, you only care about trans issues because you don't care about the thing I care about. Hey, Jimmy, I understand you caught COVID and you had some harsh symptoms. Dude, I get that. We ain't friends, but I get that, and I understand why you'd be upset with it. That don't give you a reason to throw Dr. West under the bus about it. He didn't make the rules. He didn't do it to you. He's not as upset as you are about it on the same level that it surpasses and eclipses all other issues. Come on, dog. Lighten up. Have a little bit of equilibrium.
A little bit of class, like I like to say.
Equalizing your anger, cussing and spitting. I guess it's better. I mean, you have done worse in this interview. The cussing and spitting and throwing things, Jimmy. What I don't want people to do is act like this interview was just a blind spot, just a blip in an unvarnished record. Because that is not what this is. This is Jimmy Dore being Jimmy Dore. This is Jimmy Dore preparing for an interview and executing on that prepared interview.
Yep.
That's what this was.
Yep.
What I'm doing right now is me flying with a couple of notes of things I didn't want to forget to say, unprepared. That ain't what Jimmy was. Jimmy was prepared for this.
Fox News is looking at Jimmy Dore right now going, we really like your style, Jimmy.
This is the way he wanted it to go. So don't give me
How would you like to come on board and become part of the Fox News family?
He makes mistakes. We all make mistakes.
We like your honesty.
This is all right.
Your unbiased approach.
Jimmy Dore's been kissing up to that Trump wing of the world. Look, everybody, all of you lion-ass commentators, you know the real deal, man. All of us had to make a decision. We all had to make a decision about what we wanted to be about. We all had to make a decision about what was important to us, right, and what we was going to stand on, and how much we wanted to value our politics. I'm glad I'm just standing on the truth. That's all I got. What's advantageous and financially beneficial in the marketplace. We all make the decisions. Everyone makes that decisions. You make the decisions in your businesses or in your careers or whatever your pursuits are. We all do it. All of us who do content have made this decision. Jimmy made this decision. He made this decision that Trump world is where he wants to play. A little gray area that's between, well, he's not a Trump supporter, but Trump's really bad, but. And hey, nothing wrong with that. I ain't vote for Biden, and I won't vote for Biden. And I've been consistent about that the whole time. People that smear me say, hey, you're Biden, you must support, because they just assume that I voted for, just assume. They see a black guy, they think I have Biden support.
I'm going to get the oil container to pour this in.
But to say that Dr. West,
and we're going to do the last stage of this.
Plants or something that actually
storage.
Helped Biden.
You guys can see
nonsense.
how I do it.
Cornel West is running against Joe Biden. He's running against the Republican nominee, which appears to be, it will be Trump. And it's totally delusional to suggest that Dr. West is somehow a supporter of Joe Biden. I mean, how insulting is to say, sounds like you're running a campaign ad for Trump. I mean, for Biden. Well, I mean, what kind of folks? Come on, man. So it was a low blow, in my opinion. It was a low blow, folks. I want to know what you guys think about it. It is what it is. Right? Lord have mercy. Everything's moving fast, Johnson. It looks like no one said anything. When people said stuff, but no one said anything that they want to super chat me. Right? I wish Mrs. Black was here because I think I get an email when I get super chat. But anyway, well, hell, we had the conversation. I said my point, you said your point of view. Yeah, you spent the whole interview on it. To my 10 black supporters of the show, I want to thank you guys for supporting the show. I want to thank those who came through and they listened to me anyway. What the hell? What the hell? You came through, you listened to it, brother. I appreciate you. And that's it, man. I'm disappointed. That actually, I had no expectations of Jimmy Dore. I was surprised, frankly, that he stooped that low. I'm surprised that Jimmy had the cojones to stoop that low. But you live and learn every day. Every day you live and learn. All right. Michael Hicks said, shout out to you, Tim. Good commentary. Thank you, Michael Hicks. I appreciate it, Michael. And You know, I got disagreements with some folks, but I also find that I have more agreements with certain folks than I thought I did, and that's dope. But do not give Jimmy Dore an out on this. This was wrong. He was wrong. Period. And I feel it's a smear to say the guy running against Biden ain't running against Biden. Now, it was one thing to say Bernie did that. People have been begging Cornel West to run within the Democratic Party so they could control him. That was their whole point. They want West in the Democratic Party because they feel he's going to hurt Biden. And we got this guy strategically conjuring up this show to say that you ain't hard enough on Biden, you ain't going at Biden, and you're supporting Biden. Which is the direct opposite of all the criticism. And we're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. Remember, Dr. Cornel West is the only candidate that I've seen. Nina Turner said the Trump and Biden were like two bowls of shit. One's a half bowl, one's a full bowl. And we got Dr. West to say the Democratic Party is unredeemable. That's the other soundbite that Jimmy Dore could use to categorize how Dr. West felt about Bernie's statements. When Bernie was like, "Hey, go within the Democratic Party, work towards, and you should work within the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party is, and we're trying to move, and Joe Biden and he has done a good job, and it's more to do, and you should work." And Cornel West got on the show and was like, he went on the hill. That's what it was. He went on the hill and said the Democratic Party is unredeemable. I disagree with my brother Bernie Sanders, my dear brother. I got love for him, but I disagree with him. The Democratic Party is unredeemable. Bam! Bam, Johnson. Why not play that soundbite, Jimmy? What happened to that soundbite? Why not run that one? If you want to categorize. But see, at that point, when Dr. West went on the Breakfast Club, Bernie Sanders and that man had not gone so far as make a public statement. I don't think he made a public statement about Cornel West. Yeah, that's it. When Bernie Sanders went on the Breakfast Club and he was asked by Tessa Figueroa how do you feel about Bernie Sanders endorsing Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders hadn't made a public statement about it. And I felt that Cornel West, just as me thinking, I did not talk to Cornel West about this. But I feel, not being Cornel West, but I feel that Dr. West erred on the side of civility and graciousness, not to be harsh on Bernie, and decided to go around as just saying I think Bernie's scared of Trump, in order to kind of like save face for his friend in a way. And I could be wrong, man. I could be wrong. Dr. West, I could be wrong. This is what I think. But later, after Bernie comes out and is like, "Oh, what was wrong with him? Cornel was, and he still wasn't really throwing Cornel West under the bus, but he made it clear that if you want fascism to grow, you gotta, somebody
You gonna do a Bernie Sanders impersonation?
Like, hey, if you want democracy, you gotta choose. If you want democracy,
you're gonna do Medicare for all. You gotta do Medicare for all. You're gonna have to talk about minimum wage, affordable
and they pose the question to him
for everybody. We're gonna have to talk about the progressives here, the independents.
I love Bernie Sanders. I love him like a brother Bernie, but Democratic Party, I think we all can agree. I think Bernie knows in his heart of hearts.
You cannot do Bernie Sanders.
How much harder can you have? I know you can go harder, but doesn't that say it all? He's saying somebody's unredeemable.
Tim.
That means there's no coming back.
Tim, we're going to have to talk about your Bernie Sanders impersonation, and we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And when we do, I promise you, I'm going to make you a much better Bernie Sanders impersonator. All right? You hang in there, Tim. I'll get with you on that.
It's unfixable. You think a guy says, "Hey, Dr. West says this party is unfixable." You're going, he's shilling for their party. He just told you it's unfixable. That means it can't be fixed. That means don't support it. That means you can do it, but get rid of this shit. Throw it away. It's irredeemable. It's unredeemable. That's what Dr. West said about the Democratic Party. He didn't say that about Biden. He said the whole fucking party. Hardest statement I've heard said about the Democrats by any presidential candidate. And he gets no credit at all. Because Jimmy Dore didn't say it. Jimmy Dore, he's the guy. I look up to Jimmy, and I worship Jimmy, and I kiss his ass. I love to be his martini in his glass. I wish I was an olive in his martini glass.
I wish I was an olive in his martini glass.
Listening to you guys will have Cornel West lose the black vote to Jim Crow Joe. You dumbos. You morons. Listening to you will get Dr. West on Donkey of the fucking Day. Listening to you will spoil his campaign. Dr. West can beat Biden just by taking the black vote alone. And I'm going to do my best to help him do that. I'm going to do my best to help Dr. West take the black vote from Joe Biden. Because white people going to vote for Trump. I think Dr. West has the ability to take more votes than Ross Perot. And I'm going to do my best to help make that happen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do. So folks, listen. So white folks who watch the Tim Black Show, thank you guys. Guess what? Don't tell me don't talk about how Dr. West is the best bet for the black community. The black community loves me talking that way because the black community knows that what's good for white people ain't always good for black people. So the language that black people speak to black people is different than the language that white people speak to black people. Do you understand? It's important that when I frame things and I'm talking to...
What's that?
Doug is here.
Oh,
You know?
no.
Well, he's out measuring.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And he'll have that estimate for us.
black people, that I let them know I'm talking to black America. Black America is the engine that runs the Democratic Party. And listen to you morons who don't realize that, you'll have Dr. West lose the black vote. My only reason for doing this is I can talk about the Chris Rock slap, I can talk about Joe Budden, I can talk about Corey Holcomb, a run-in that they had with Fresh and Fit, with Abba and Preach. There's a whole ecosystem of shit I can talk about to get a view. A view is a view is a view is a view. The only reason why I talk about politics is because I want black people to get something for their votes. That's the only reason why I talk about politics. Why does Tim Black talk about politics? Because I believe the Democratic Party steals votes from the black community using fear tactics and scare tactics, and then they don't deliver for the black community. And I want to change that. And if I can be instrumental and help do that in any way, I'm here for it. So when I'm saying to the black community, when I put out my content and I say, Black America, Cornel West this, that, I want him, I have not relinquished my political stances, nor have I relinquished my position in progressive media. And I know it's 5 of them, and I fucks with them now. I respect RBN for doing their thing. I disagree with them on a lot of issues, but I respect Revolutionary Blackout Network for what they did. I'm glad those brothers hung in there. There's always going to be a little sore spot about some of the shit that some of them did. I don't think some of them are rise like they think they are on certain issues, but I respect the fact they hung in together. You know how rare it is for me to see black folks stick into this politics shit and do what they've done? It's rare as fuck. So I applied that. And that's not me being told by nobody to say it. It's in my spirit to say it, I'm just going to say it. But Jimmy Dore don't get a pass because he fussed with them. He don't get a pass because he had Nick on the show. He don't get a pass because he brought up Christian Smalls. No. What Jimmy Dore did was horrible. There was a smear on Dr. West. Okay? So I see that. We've been saying from day one that the Democratic Party's been getting away with taking the black vote for granted, and it is my job to help black people see through the light about the Democratic Party, and now we got something to vote for, not just against. Dr. West gives us something to vote for, folks. He gives us something to move towards.
I mean,
don't you want to move towards something?
I think a big takeaway here is a big problem that Jimmy Dore had with Cornel West was the fact that he supported Joe Biden, and okay, he did. It's in the past. Get over it. Now he's running against him. Move on. I mean, that's the takeaway here, man.
Towards something. And I know damn well black America needs something to move towards.
All right, we got this oil in here now, man. Nice.
You don't feel like I gotta vote for this guy. I don't want to vote for this guy. This doesn't feel good. I'm gonna feel good voting for Dr. West. I'm gonna feel good inside. Just like I felt when I voted for Jill Stein. I felt good when I voted for her. That's right, I voted for her. I felt good about it. I'd do it again. That's right, I felt good voting for them. For the Green Party. I didn't feel reluctant. I didn't feel bad about myself. I didn't go, oh man, I contributed to something that I have a moral disagreement with, a fundamental disagreement with. Is this thing still playing? My bad.
Am I still on?
I looked up and my mouse hit something. So sorry.
Am I still live, man?
So what I'm saying, folks, what I'm saying is, Dr. West, we're here for it. I'm here for this. And I'm here to make sure this happens. Hope that you're down with it. Go to CornelWest24.org, support his campaign. It's unfortunate what Jimmy Dore poured here. It was unnecessary. It was a cheap shot. It was a smear. There's gonna be a lot more to come. This ain't gonna stop this. One clown don't stop a show. One monkey don't stop a parade. I don't know. It is what it is. Call it out for what you see. Call it out as you see it. I have not relinquished my foothold in this, and I'm gonna keep on calling it out. I'm gonna continue to put on Dr. West, and I'm gonna continue to support his candidacy until he has done something for whatever reason that I feel like he has done something I can't support. Until then, I'm there, man.
Right.
I'm there.
Fair enough.
It's contingent upon those things. But if anything, Dr. West has solidified it. He solidified my support of him by going on Jimmy Dore's platform and not talking one way to Jimmy and his mostly white, Trump-leaning, right of center, whatever these, I don't know what you call them. So I'm not saying they're Trump supporters. I'm saying they're soft on Trump. And I think that can happen when you're so tired of the Democrats. I think that can happen when you're so tired of Democrats. Like, I'm not saying everybody's nefarious, but I'm saying it's kind of obvious. But I think it can happen when you get so angry with the Democratic Party, when you see through all their BS. Because, hey, let's face it, when the Democrats lie to you, and nothing creates more resentment than being lied to. So I get that. I'm not saying people have this nefarious intention, dog. That's not what I'm saying. And I understand it. It's a natural reaction to want to smack the person that's been lying to you. A person steals from you, you might want to smack them. I get that, right? But I appreciate that Dr. West went on that channel, and he didn't succumb to that at all. He stayed in his pocket of what he believed, and he stood up for what he believed. And I would expect nothing less of Dr. West to do, okay? But he did do that, and I appreciate it. Everybody ain't going to agree with you. Everybody's not going to see it your way, and that's fine, too. But I think Jimmy went above and beyond being Jimmy. And I think it's horrible. He needs to look in the mirror and decide who he wants to be, man. And I understand there's going to be people that support him. They like seeing him. They like seeing him.
Everything he does is for clicks.
Whether it was fair play or whatever.
Tim knows.
They prefer that because they like train wrecks. I disagree with it. I think it was a cheap shot. I think it was unnecessary. I think it was petty. And I think it was partially influenced by the fact that Dr. West is running Green Party and not running in the People's Party. Yeah. That's right. I believe part of it was motivated by his spite. So he was spiteful because Dr. West left Nick Brown and his butt buddy. So I think that's got something to do with it. Because I live in a real world where people have real feelings and people get really upset. And people act on those feelings. A lot of us do. A lot of us who make content, we can make content. We got no rule book. We can talk about anybody we want to talk about. We can talk about any issue we want to talk about. We have freedom of speech. I know they tell you they don't have freedom of speech, but they do have freedom of speech. And people get their backs up, they get upset about something, and they go after you. Jimmy Dore just picked a way to do it that was kind of contrived, but he went after Dr. West. He kept on saying, hey, I really support your campaign. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I support your campaign so much, I'm going to shit on it and tell people you are like Biden. Because I support you. Yeah. Then I'm going to later, the next day, put out a video that says, a 45-minute commercial for Biden. Yeah, because I'm here to support your campaign. I really want the best for your campaign, Dr. West. Yeah, really, Jimmy? Really? And Palestinians, no, and the Jewish, and the Israelis really want the Palestinians to fill it on. Come on, man. Come on, Johnson. Get out of here. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. If you're going to support it, admit what you're supporting and admit what you're riding with. That's all. Let's not be delusional. Let's not lie to ourselves. This was obvious. They hit all the points I meant to hit.
He's going to be like, I hit that, I hit that, I hit that.
I do believe that Cornel West believes Trump is worse than Biden. That doesn't mean he wants either of them to be president. That should not be the litmus test. Goodness gracious. That's the litmus test? Which one do you think is doing more damage?
Covered it.
Jimmy, framed the entire convo was Trump versus Biden to further ingratiate Dore to Trump supporters. And I feel that way. That's the way I feel. And Jimmy is angry West left MPP. And that he will not hire Jimmy Dore as a consultant for his campaign. That's pure arrogance, Johnson. And look, and for the record, guys, human beings do this. A lot of times we hear somebody say something negative about a person or a candidate. I'm telling you that there's a spike. There's a journalists, commentators, they're human beings. If you piss them off, they react. It's absurd to say Cornel West is soft on Biden when Cornel West is running against Biden. No one on the right is going after Cornel West for going after Trump. The hit pieces, the handwriting, all the hand-wringing is by the center right, the Democratic Party apparatus. And why is that? Because Dr. Cornel West is a threat to Joe Biden. And to say that Dr. West is somehow in cahoots or soft on Biden is ridiculous. Just because he doesn't say it the way you say it, for some reason, he's still considered an existential threat to what? To democracy, the Democratic Party. They don't think he's an existential threat to Trump. They feel he's an existential threat to Biden. The same guy you say he's helping. Come on, man. Let's grow a brain. Grow a brain, Jimmy Dore. And I ended on this. Jimmy Dore is looking for clicks and he found them. And when you talk about blind spots, stop telling me black people are blind spots. We ain't no damn blind spots. Whether the lights are on or off, you can see exactly who we are and what we've been through in this country. If you don't realize that race and class are connected, you're too dumb to have an opinion. Period. They spray painted nigga on LeBron's house. Dumb. All right. Just stop. Truth can't be silenced. Any random show, Tim Black is telling it exactly how it is. That's all I'm doing, fam. Thank you, brothers. Good to see you, man. Mac Automation Tips. You're on point, Tim. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mac Automation Tips. I appreciate you. One tall girl said Jimmy Dore's been advocating that racism is over because black people come to his show. He got a couple black friends. I'm telling you, Johnson, that's the level.
So the end of racism, because Jimmy Dore had some black people on his show. I love it.
Man. It's some amazing progressive people that I met in Ohio. I met him in Portland. I met him in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, I met some good people, and I met some stinkers too. With stinking thinking like Jimmy Dore. Racism's over because they came to see me. You know what? Racism isn't over.
24,947 is low on Bitcoin, guys.
They'll mean the same thing. They like my content. They like my content. Doesn't necessarily mean they want my son to marry their daughter. It doesn't mean they don't have biased beliefs about black people. Doesn't mean that. These things are not the same. However, what are your thoughts on the aggressive nature of Dore with Cornel versus RFK? Oh, all I can tell you is that I have not watched the RFK Jr. interview. I don't watch Jimmy Dore. I have a gag reflex.
I have a gag reflex.
And I can't put up with it. I don't like Jimmy Dore's content. Sorry, just don't. I don't respect Jimmy Dore. I understand what Jimmy Dore's been doing. I understood everything Jimmy Dore has done ever since he made the shift to the right. I told him when he threw Robert Cole and what's the other guy's name?
Graham Elwood.
When he started shitting on all his friends, Graham Elwood, all of them, when they all left, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
Jimmy's ego got out of control, Johnson.
Yep.
He wasn't listening to any reason.
Well said, Tim.
This guy just got an arrogance problem.
Exactly.
Right. And unfortunately, he's powerful within a certain contingent. He's got a following. And a lot of people don't want to get on his bad side.
Right.
I'm already on his bad side, and I don't give a damn.
Right. Me too. Fuck that.
Because I disagree with him. I think he's wrong, and I think this was a dirty, underhanded play. And I feel like, as far as RFK Jr., I heard what RFK Jr. said about reparations. It's a deal. It's a wrap. RFK started sounding like Bernie Sanders. Worse than Bernie. Yeah, because he did a word salad. RFK did a Kamala Harris when black issues came up. You start doing a word salad. So yeah, that's what I think about it. And then we got Michael Hicks, who gave me daps. That's as far as it goes. All right, guys, that's it. Remember, my name is Tim Black. Join us, become a member of the Tim Black Show. And we live stream on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tim Black's Table. Tim Black's Black Table. And then Mrs. Black will be joining me. And we'll have a conversation. I'm sure this will come up. We'll spend some more time on it on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey,
Hope to see you there, folks. I'm at TimBlackTV.com. Support us. Go to jointimblack.com. Jointimblack.com is how you join the show. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all y'all standing up for truth and justice, man. I got your back. Remember, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. Don't let nobody take your cornbread, not even Jimmy Dore, and especially not Jimmy Dore. Don't let Jimmy Dore take your cornbread. Remember, when they say, why you supporting Dr. West? Tell them, it's a new day. That's why.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys had fun. And I hope you enjoyed the 2.5 hour show. And I will see you guys this afternoon. Take care, everybody.
Tropical thing. Thanks, CYA later. Bonsai House. Hashtag keep it open.
Oh, hashtag keep it open, Billy. Yeah, man. Hashtag keep it open, bro. I was wondering if somebody was going to come up with that. Billy did. Hashtag keep it open. I mean, I ain't got nothing.
Holly Horn. Thanks, Nay.
Only one person, though. People just don't ever want to type in hashtag keep it open, I guess, Billy. It's weird. I don't know why they do that. They give up so easily. I don't know. I don't understand them, man. I don't understand the people that won't type in hashtag keep it open. I don't know why that is such a large ask. Could this be a reversal? Being led by Matic and Cardano. There is something going on. We had a spike just now from both Ethereum and Bitcoin. Might be getting us out of this low right here. This could be the start. We'll see. All right. Since nobody else typed hashtag keep it open, I'm ending the show. I sat here and waited for you guys. And nobody else wanted to do it. So, bye, guys.